Oh, did you get a message from Zoom that the meeting was being live streamed?
Yes.
Yes.
In the YouTube notification.
On the YouTubes?
Yeah, I got a notification that you're live.
So we're live on the YouTubes for this live police stop law class, so people can get a glimpse on what it's like to start learning this law, because you gotta start doing it no matter what. Ooh. All right, so we're gonna get into it. Again, no hokey pokey talk. Because we don't want the YouTubes tripping. Word. All right, so here we go. First video. Now this dude, this guy who we're getting ready to watch, he knew some law, but again, what is the main or the number one rule about talking to the police?
Shut the fuck up.
Thank you. He could have learned better. So watch. He knew some stuff, but he still could have done better just by doing what you just said. Here we go.
You want to tell us where you're coming from tonight?
No, sir, I don't.
You want to tell us where you're coming from tonight?
No, sir, I don't answer questions.
So look at how he says, I don't answer questions, but watch what he does. He proceeds to answer questions after this. The video is not loading right.
If all I see is your logo, I don't see the video.
You don't see the video?
I don't.
I don't either.
Mr. Chairman,
I ain't come up yet.
Submitted by Harvey, who on February 27th, 2021, was driving home when he accidentally ran a stop sign. This immediately resulted in Officer Martinez of the Fort Worth Police Department initiating a traffic stop, during which the officer muted his mic and Harvey's dash cam shut down when he turned off his vehicle. However, the officer on the small portion of the conversation.
This video, YouTube. Come on, man. Stop playing. Come on, bro.
Now the second officer has
Steve and Dave use eToro to trade cryptocurrencies.
Second officer has muted his mic while filling in another unit. Because Harvey refused to answer questions, the officers ask him to exit the vehicle.
I'm going to retreat from the vehicle. Which one is it going to be? You can make this as smooth as possible, or we can make this complicated.
Are you in fear for your life, sir?
No, I'm not in fear for my life. I need to conduct an investigation.
By state law, the only reason I have to step out of my vehicle is if you're in fear for your life.
Now, what's the number one thing he just got wrong? Anyone? Come on. What's the number one thing he just got wrong?
What you mean by police having unquestionable command?
What did he just say? What did this guy?
You got the window too far down.
Well, yes, that's the first thing. Yes, his window is too far down, but they just told him to get out of the car. And so his response was what?
The police have a right to take you out of the car. Or
No, that's not what he said. He said, do you fear for your life? And then they asked him why. And it was like, because of whatever state he's in, the state law says the only reason he has to get out of the car is if the police officer fears for his life. That's what he just said. So you guys better pay attention. You got to be detailed. Watch these damn videos. So again,
Okay.
watch.
Exit the vehicle.
The vehicle, I'm going to remove from the vehicle. Which one is it going to be? You can make this as smooth as possible, or we can make this
Are you in
complicated.
fear for your life, sir?
No, I'm not in fear for my life. I need to conduct an
By
investigation.
Texas state law, the only reason I have to step out of my vehicle is if you're in fear for your life.
Now, right off the bat. What's the rule?
Police. He talking to the police.
But what's the rule on that? Is he correct right off the bat? Is he right or correct?
No, he's not. No, he's not. Because Supreme Court case, Pennsylvania v. Mims and Maryland v. Wilson says the police officers are allowed to tell you to get the driver and the passengers out of the vehicle for any reason if it's a lawful stop. So he can't argue whether or not they're in fear for their life. If they are or not, he has to get out of the car.
Right. So look, so check this out. So right off the bat, he's already off. He's already wrong. So mute your phone when I'm talking. Mute your phone. Whoever's in the background, mute your phone. I don't know the rule for class.
Yeah, let me take a shot at this.
Yo, mute your phone when I'm talking. I'm about to talk. Mute your phone. So right off the bat, this dude, the police officers know when you start talking and you start to state wrong law, you start spouting off wrong law, you empower the police officer to do more. You empower. So if the rule is I don't answer questions, I don't talk to police, then you don't talk to them. You only do what's lawfully required. But if you start talking and you start talking the wrong law right off the bat, the police officer knows, or he's going to assume that you're full of shit, and you're going to empower him to go further or go harder against you.
So that's not happening right now. What's happening is
Threat of violence and jail, I'll step out.
no for conduction of investigation. Okay.
If it's under threat of violence,
There's Supreme Court case law that says that we can remove you from the vehicle if you're traveling on the highway. All right, go ahead and step out of the vehicle for us.
Yes, sir.
I'm not being
aggressive.
Come back this way.
Step to the back. Just be compliant like
Yes,
that.
sir. I don't have any weapons on me. I'm not being aggressive.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to tell us where you're coming from tonight?
No, sir. I don't answer questions.
All right, so here's our biggest concern, all right? Based on what this officer saw, the way that you were driving, and completely blew through an intersection without even so much as trying to slow down
I got
for
a
it.
dash camera.
That's fine. So do I.
So do we. All right. It's not really a relevant matter right here. Okay. So the way that you blew through that intersection leads us to wonder.
Now, did you see the officer's demeanor after he said, "I have a dash camera"?
Straightened up, and he was a little bit.
Huh?
He was a little bit more careful about what he was going to say.
Yes. He eased up real quick. Like, you got to notice that. As soon as he say, "Well, I have a dash camera," they say, "Oh, well, so do we." And so, like, okay, when they know you have a dash camera, they're very careful after what they start to say.
Possibly, you might be a little bit intoxicated. You might have something in your system that's preventing you from being able to drive safely. People walk through that intersection all night long, expecting cars to come.
Have I committed a crime?
Yes. That's why you're stopped right now.
Okay. Well, write me a ticket, take me to jail.
All right, here's the deal, man.
I mean, that's the bottom line. If I committed a crime, take me to jail, write me a
Have
ticket.
you been drinking tonight?
I don't answer questions.
All right. So
You have your dash cams on?
Yeah, I got this
Yeah,
cam on.
do me a favor, kill your lights and your spotlight on the ground for me. Okay, man, we're gonna check your eyes and do a full sobriety test called an SFS.
Do you have to submit to a sobriety test? When he just asked him, he said,
No.
"Have you been drinking? Have you been drinking?" I don't answer questions. So then, obviously, the police officer is going to say, "Well, you need to do a field sobriety test." Do you have to do that?
No.
No.
Why not?
Do not help the officer with their investigation.
Thank you. Thank you. It does what? Say that one more time.
You do not have to help the officer with their investigation, which a sobriety test is an investigation on whether you're drunk or not.
Thank you. You are not lawfully obligated to help the police officers in their investigation.
Standardized to any searches and seizures.
Okay. Nobody's doing a search and seizure. All right.
I don't submit to anything. Okay. You lawfully pulled me out of my vehicle.
Okay. So by state law, okay, if we believe that you
have I committed a crime?
Yes.
You already unlawfully pulled me from my vehicle. I don't submit to anything.
See, he's right on a lot of his law, but then when you say this is why you need to be right and correct, because him being wrong just on that little bit, it still leaves the officers an opening to kind of fuck with him. Because it's like, okay, yeah, you don't have to answer questions and this and that, but you don't obviously know the law that you think you know, because we do have the right to pull you out of the car. So now we're going to still, so that gives the officers a little bit of, oh, he doesn't really know the law like you think he does. So let's kind of box around, let's spar a little bit to see if I can still get him.
Okay.
Take me to jail right now. I don't submit to anything.
Right now, get your hands out of your pockets.
Take me to jail.
Right now, for the sake of public safety,
we want to make sure I committed a crime.
We want to make sure that you're safe to drive.
Committed a crime?
Yes.
What crime did I commit?
You ran through a stop sign.
I did not run through a stop sign, sir.
And that's what leads us to believe you might be
intoxicated. I did not run through a stop sign.
Is that a logical conclusion that you're drunk because you ran through a stop sign?
Nope. No.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, you shouldn't even be arguing.
Why? Thank you. He shouldn't be arguing. But why is that a logical conclusion to jump to, that because I ran through a stop sign, I'm drunk? See, that's, again, they want to get you to the best charge for them. So, again, you have to know what your rights are. And again, he's right to not submit to the sobriety test, but he still shouldn't be talking.
I run through any stop sign. I have a dash cam. I know what I did.
All right. So we're going to conduct.
I'm not standardized. I refuse to do a sobriety test.
I refuse any
seizures. I refuse to do a sobriety test. I have not broken any laws. Am I free to go? Am I being detained?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
For what crime? For what crime am I being detained? Investigation for what crime? What is your reasonable, articulate suspicion of a crime, sir?
Now, what did they just tell him?
That he's being detained.
For what?
They hadn't said. They said he committed a crime with this for the stop sign.
Okay, running through a stop sign. Now it's his word against theirs. They've told him why they pulled him over. He continues to ask because he doesn't believe it's a valid reason. But did they give him a valid reason?
Yes, it's an infraction. So that is something that the police can stop you for.
Okay. So what does he do? What's going on then with him continuing to ask after they've given him the reason they pulled him over? He keeps saying you don't have reasonable articulable suspicion when they just gave it to him. So what does that kind of help with their argument?
He's hostile.
Incompliant. Oh.
Or what?
Escalating.
What's their main
intoxicated.
Intoxicated. So a person who's lucid, if I just told you why I pulled you over, I told you we pulled you over because you ran a stop sign. That's reasonable articulable suspicion. I just literally explained to you why I pulled you over. And so then he keeps going, why'd you stop me? What crime did I commit? He keeps going like that, which would lead a police officer to believe that he might be intoxicated if you're not holding on to certain information for short periods of time. So again, that's why he needs to be quiet.
Right here. No, what is your...
Right here. No, you're not. Okay. You've asked me. Don't ask me again. You're not free to go.
I'm not answering any questions. Yeah. Can I have a supervisor, please?
No, you may not.
You have the right to decline field sobriety tests without being subject to legal penalties. Keep in mind that these tests are designed to be used against you. The test results are subjective and give law enforcement more evidence to arrest, charge, and convict you of a DUI. It is very uncommon for anyone, intoxicated or not, to pass a field sobriety test, because by the time an officer requests you to perform them, they already believe you are driving under the influence, and confirmation bias plays a huge role in the way the test is judged. Remember that if you refuse a field sobriety test, you can still be arrested for a DUI, but if you don't take the tests, the results cannot be used against you in court. This is not the same for chemical tests and other types of licenses. Be sure to consult with an attorney.
If you don't take a field sobriety test, and they arrest you for DUI, what do you do? Because if they don't take the field sobriety test, all they have is their presumption that you're intoxicated. You're driving under the influence. So, excuse me.
What is the judge?
Take me to see the judge. Let's go see the judge. Again, you have the right to go see the judge before they book you. Why is that?
Because you might be unlawfully arrested, and so you don't want to be presumed anything. You can go to the judge and get that thrown out if the police officers were being biased, like they were saying.
Exactly. The judge or the magistrate will throw out the charge immediately if they deem it to be a false charge, which most of the time it is. Most of the time a police officer charges you, they're making up some shit. So you can always go to the magistrate and place your case before the magistrate. But again, at that point, you still don't have to make your case right then and there. You still get 5 days to make your case. That's the best thing about going to see the magistrate. Well, and I'm speaking now from California. In California, you get 5 days to make your case. You guys want to check your state law to see what that is, if you get any time to make a case to the magistrate about what was going on in the incident. But most of the time, they give you time to prepare.
You need to fully understand your options. Harvey is now placed under arrest, but not for anything DUI related.
What's up, guys? It's JD with Jackson, and today we're talking about this 22-inch, 5mm gold chain. So,
am I free to go?
No.
Being detained?
Yes.
Supervisor's on his way.
What crime am I being detained for?
Right now, you're just being held.
Held?
Huh?
Why'd you stutter? What crime?
No, you're on a
Am
stop.
I being detained? Am I free to go?
No, you're not.
What am I being detained for?
Okay, turn
What
around.
crime did I commit?
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Yes, sir.
Right now, you're being arrested for running a stop sign, all right?
Now, is running a stop sign an arrestable offense?
No.
No.
Why not? Why not?
It's just a
traffic infraction.
Excuse me?
Traffic infraction.
It's an infraction. So what's the difference between an infraction and a misdemeanor?
Misdemeanor is a crime.
What's an infraction?
It's just a statute that's been broken, rules, laws. But they're not severe. They weren't in any way dangerous, if that makes sense.
Like color law?
No. Infractions are real things. But why are infractions not arrestable? Why don't they usually arrest you under an infraction?
That's civil.
No. That's a penal code. You'll find them under penal codes. So why usually don't they arrest you under an infraction?
Because you can get released off on your own reconnaissance, like with a signature or whatever, and get a court date.
You can, but why do they do that?
Because it's just usually it's not a offense where you have to do time, where you can get charged time. You can just pay the penalty.
No, but my question though is that's the repercussion of the infraction. I want to know why. So again, the difference, there's infractions and misdemeanors, right? And then infractions, misdemeanors, and felonies. These are the three things. All right. So infractions. Let's actually go over what are the difference between the three: infraction, misdemeanor, and a felony. What are the difference between the three?
Infraction is a breach of contract or breach of a crime. I'm sorry, of a law.
So a misdemeanor and a felony is too, isn't it? So what's the difference between the three?
Yeah, that's true.
See, y'all rolling around here saying these words. Y'all didn't know what they was. Y'all didn't know what they meant. And what's the difference between the punishment of the three?
Well, I know an infraction, you just get a ticket. If you get a misdemeanor, it could lead to an arrest, but it's not I think the arrest would be a lot shorter time period. And then a crime is a little bit, it's more.
I said felony.
Felony is more egregious. So you get longer time.
But what's the difference? See, y'all got to know. All right, here we go. Infraction. An infraction is something that the law it deems a minor violation of the law. That's only punishable by or reprimandable by fine. So infractions are you get punishment by fine. You get fined. Misdemeanors, you go to jail, usually for a year or less. Felonies, you go, and also misdemeanors are jail. So the difference is jail, and then there's prison. Felonies, you go to prison. Misdemeanors, you go to jail. Infractions, you get tickets. Minor violation. An infraction is a minor violation of the law, usually not punishable by arrest, but by fine. So, but again, some states may have where you can arrest someone under an infraction, which is usually not, though. Again, in most states, an infraction is only punishable by a fine. So they're saying that they can arrest him for running a stop sign. Again, I don't know what state he's in, but you would have to check that. Again, in most states, that's not a thing.
In Texas. So Kev,
he in Texas? Oh, well, yeah, that's the thing.
He gets his infraction.
He in Texas? Oh, well, shit, let me say this. Fuck everything I said if you in Texas. Texas don't.
They probably wouldn't have arrested him if he wouldn't have been, if he wasn't arguing and he would have abided by what they were saying, right?
Dude, Texas. No, look, Texas. Look here. If y'all in Texas, anybody in Texas right now, we live on YouTube. Fuck Texas. Not the Texas people, the law. They can arrest you for anything in Texas while driving. When you're driving, they can arrest you for anything except what? What's the three things that they cannot arrest you for in Texas while driving?
Having an open bottle.
Open bottle in your car, which is crazy. What's the other one?
Speeding, cell phone.
Cell phone, being on your cell phone, and speeding. Yeah. These are the only three things that they can't arrest you for in your car, which should be arrestable offenses. The three things they can arrest you for, they won't. But they can arrest you for anything else. Spitting out of the window. They can arrest you for double parking. Do y'all know that? They can arrest you for double parking. Yeah. In Texas, they can arrest you for double parking.
I ain't know that. That is crazy.
Dude.
Man, them niggas better get the hell. Excuse me. Them niggas better get the hell out of that. Hey, for real.
He said them niggas better get the hell out of Texas. Yeah, man. Texas is crazy. So yeah, okay. In Texas, yeah, they can arrest him for running a stop sign. Because go ahead.
So Kevin, on that infraction, so he get this ticket, but then if he don't go pay it, that's when it turns into a misdemeanor.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. It'll turn into usually turn into a warrant. It'll go into a warrant. They'll issue a warrant if you don't pay it. But he would have to usually either for the infraction is either if he has to pay it. Some places you have to go to court. They want you to go to court and then pay it also at the same time. So it depends on where you are, what state you are. They'll just say send the money to this court. And then some places you actually have to show up at the court date and then pay the fine.
For running a stop sign. Yes, you are.
That's right. Arrested for running a stop sign. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Harvey was arrested for running a stop sign or for not answering questions? Let's keep watching and find out.
I'm arrested for running a stop sign. Yes, you are. Are you clear? Understand that? So you're not going to ask me again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Step back to my vehicle real quick. I'll let you speak to this. You have your body cam on? I do have my body cam. He has his body cam. I have my body cam. You have your dash cam. We got all kinds of cameras over here. Thank you. So when you go to court and contest it, you can contest that you didn't run a stop sign. Watch me.
What could be so confidential that the officers need to mute it and avoid it being released to the public? Unfortunately, we will never know, but many departments across the United States are considering policy changes that would prevent officers from muting or turning off their cameras when in contact with the public, but those changes could not happen fast enough. Harvey was eventually transported to a local jail where he was booked and released after about an hour. They never conducted any further sobriety checks.
What could he have done though? Instead of being booked. We just said it.
Go see the magistrate.
Go see the judge. Again, everyone who's listening, you have a right to go see the judge before they take you and book you, take you down to the police station and book you, because they may be charging you falsely. And a judge will come to that conclusion pretty quickly, or give you a chance to explain it. So at least give you like a small few days to get your case together to explain it, so that you don't have to go through the embarrassment of getting booked. That's what that's there for. As we're going to see actually in another case in a minute.
Yes, sir. No problem. Just an extension of my professionalism.
Northwest of David 311.
I don't think anybody needs that. What kind of music you like? Okay. Are you ready, sir? I don't answer questions. No, you have to step out the vehicle. You got any help? I don't answer questions.
At the very end of the video, it seems as though the officer attempted to end the recording, which notifies the user with this tone. But the camera kept recording for a few seconds and clearly shows how much contempt the officer has for Harvey.
Any recording. So this motherfucker blows through the stop sign at Ellis and Exchange, and I light him up, and he kind of finally pulls over on 24th.
Harvey admits his guilt to the traffic infraction. His channel link can be found below, and if you head over there,
all right. So, man, Texas is with the bull crap. Seriously. They just made it a felony for they made prostitution a felony, or what was it? Yeah, for you to be
Hey Kevin, I had a question.
Illicit prostitution, they made it a felony.
Kevin, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So are there any Are there any rules or regulations for cops to keep, because they kept turning their cameras on and off, right, on muting them, right?
Right.
So can you use that as a way? Can you use that in court if you was to take them to court? Because it's still their word against yours.
Well, not necessarily. Depends on at what point they muted the video and what you're trying to challenge.
Okay.
So it all depends on that. Everything is situational. So and again, every state is different. Every state is going to be different. But most circuits have the same. So most states within the same circuit follow the same laws. So that, just so we know. So even though a lot of states will differ in law, most states that are in the same circuit have the same laws. So like the right to film police, the right to film police in public. They didn't have that right in the Fifth Circuit, which is what's the Fifth Circuit? Texas. Was it Texas? Was it Arkansas in there? All those little southern states around there in that
Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi. Yeah. So they didn't have the right before. Was it Turner versus Driver? That just happened, I think, in 2015 or 16. So now everybody in the Fifth Circuit does have the right to. Now you could do it, and then before the ruling, it would just, sometimes it would just be back and forth. Sometimes the court rules again in favor, sometimes the court ruled against. But then when it took it all the way to the the Fifth Circuit, which is, federal, then all of the states had to abide by that law. And so, like I said, now in all those states, you can do it. So just make sure, like, even if you're checking your state laws, you want to check the circuit, the federal circuit also on those rulings, because that covers that full area.
You suspect me of a crime. Okay.
I don't know who you are. It would be fantastic if you would lose the attitude, ma'am. First thing you said when I saw you was, I don't want to deal with this right now.
Because I don't. I'm sick of having to deal with this.
Ma'am, I don't know who you are.
Hey, I apologize for saying that.
So if you want to get an attitude, we can have a problem. But talking to someone disrespectfully when they're trying to be nice and do their job is not okay. If I want to get your ID because I'm checking who you are, then yes, I can.
No, you can't. I can speak to you however I want. There's freedom of speech.
So can I do. So can I.
Welcome back to the Lackluster channel. Today's story was submitted by Moody Yacker. Be sure to check out her channel and let her know I sent you. Before we continue, I'd like to welcome our first partner. Today's video is sponsored by the Ridge Wallet, a thin minimalist wallet that holds up to 12 cards. Only will the link in the description. Moody is employed by is similar in comment to further help support the channel and keep your money secure. Moody is employed by a company that cleans medical facilities overnight while the offices are closed. The following is similar to what she deals with regularly. On a recent shift, she arrived at the office at around 11:20 p.m. The place was closed and the lot empty, and standard practice is to park nearest the entrance to allow her to transport tools inside and trash out. Just after her arrival, an unusual vehicle parks near her and aims its lights at Moody. Frightened, she pulls out her phone and begins to record. To her dismay, she was finally able to see that the man in the unmarked vehicle that had been watching her for over a minute appeared to be an officer of the Lynn Police Department. This would now be the fourth interaction with the department concerning her employment.
Hi.
We just parked and we just wanted to make sure.
Okay, this is a private driveway, and I'm here to work.
Okay.
So, that's all.
24/9, so we're checking.
Okay. Janitorial. Janitorial. Here to clean. I've gone through this multiple times now with you guys. Okay. That's all.
I've never seen you here.
Okay. Well, I'm here 3 times a week. Okay.
I'm doing my job as well.
Okay. Okay.
Since I've stopped, I have to check the license.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you definitely don't.
No, he said, since I've stopped, now I got to check and see who you are. Again, what's the rule?
Don't answer questions.
I don't answer questions.
Have I been suspected of committing a crime?
And there you go. That's the first thing. What crime? Where, again, bam, right off the bat. The police officer does not have the right to know who you are just because he's a police officer. Hey, I'm a police officer. What's your damn ID? You supposed to tell me who you are when that is the misconception. And honestly, most police officers actually believe that. They actually do believe that. It's like a thing that goes around within the police stations. They, get that ID first. Why do they usually want to get your ID first? What's the main reason for that?
Check and see if you want it.
They can run you.
Wait, say what?
Warrants. Check to see if you want it.
Warrants. The police officers want your ID first because they want to check and see if you got warrants. It's an easy way for them to get arrest. Y'all don't get it. Arrest leads to promotions, which leads to higher pay. You got to get how this shit goes.
Do you suspect me of a crime?
No.
Okay.
I don't know who you are.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Do you suspect me of a crime?
Probably right now. Just because you're wearing a shirt
on private property working, you don't have to check my ID.
Now, here's the thing. Okay. You on private property. Okay, we've already established that. Okay. Anybody who works here says you're an employee.
I have the keys to the building.
At this point, the interaction should have been ended with a tip of the hat and a have a good night. But the officer is fiending to seeing Moody's identification, as if it would tell him where she works and what property she is contracted to service. His argument that anyone can wear a janitor's shirt holds some weight. However, if we reverse that thought process, anyone can buy a cheap polo and khakis and impersonate an officer. Recognizing that, and the fact that this man is in an unmarked vehicle, Moody is wise to be cautious of what information she surrenders, especially considering that she currently has no legal responsibility to identify to an officer at this time. But instead of leaving Moody to finish her job, the officer continues to accost her.
Okay.
In the fourth quarter of this year, we plan to go public at the New York.
So really, before I go back on,
right.
So if you
they made it seem like he was a crack addict. They said he was fiending for her.
Right. Right.
What the hell?
Hey,
yeah, right.
If check this out though, if the police officer rolls up on you, so say you are out there, say you're not a cleaning person. You're not cleaning. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what you're doing. You just hanging out. Maybe you just hanging out outside the building. You getting some fresh air. You walked from around the corner and that's where you stopped, in front of that building. And the police officer rolled up on you. Now, again, he's acting like, well, I roam these areas here and I'm here to make sure that nobody's casing the building or breaking into the building. But again, is that your problem? Are you obligated to help? Are you obligated to help him?
No.
Excuse me?
No. Not at all.
So in that case, what do? If you rose up and then you say, you've already said, okay, do you suspect me? What crime do you suspect me of committing or about to commit? See, that's what you also need to say, because they don't necessarily have to suspect you of having committed a crime. They can suspect you of about to commit a crime. So that's also in there. So most people get caught up with that. But after that's established, after you've established that they don't have suspicion, they don't have a crime that they're suspecting you of about to or having committed, in the midst of committing or about to commit, what's after that?
Ask for that supervisor.
Am I free to go?
Am I free to go? And then if they say no, you're still being detained, what's after that?
Ask for that supervisor.
Ask for a supervisor. Now, are they legally obligated to give you a supervisor?
No.
But usually it's what?
The policy, precinct policy.
Policy. It's police policy to send a supervisor. So don't ever say I have a right to a supervisor because you will be wrong. But if you say it's police policy, you're going to 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right. Every police precinct or station. Yo, mute your mic. Every police station has that policy because it's called, it ensures stability in case an officer is wrong. They don't want to, it decreases liability. So most precincts have that rule or policy. So ask for a supervisor. Then after that, then what?
I would make sure, that I have my phone out recording. Because
well, you should. That goes from the jump. We already
right.
That should be from the jump.
I would ask for his name and badge number.
Thank you.
Ask for his name and badge number.
That should be first. That should go around when the police officer walks up on you, and he says, "Do you have any ID?" That's actually should be the first thing. After actually one of the two first things. Do you suspect me of committing a crime? And what's your name and badge number? Or what's your name and badge number? And do you suspect me of committing a crime? It should be that. It should be flipped. Either one. Yo, when I'm talking to you guys, the mic, your mic, if you're not muted, the background picks up a lot. So just make sure you're conscious and mute your mic so that people on YouTube can still hear. Because when you make a sound, it cuts into something when I'm saying, and they don't get the full thing. But if I ask you a question, by all means, jump in. But so again, what's your name and badge number? Or do you suspect me of committing a crime? Or the other first, and vice versa. But that should be first. But then after that, after you ask for a supervisor, and he's still not letting you go, and he has no suspicion of you committing a crime or about to commit, or he can't articulate what crime he thinks you're about to commit. What do you do after that?
Anything you do next comes with you let them know that you're being coerced, and it's with you're basically being forced.
Well, wait. Somebody said not that. Somebody said
stay silent. Stay silent.
Damn. Shut your ass up. After that, you be quiet. You don't say another word. I don't answer questions. That's your response after that. Because now everything is what? After you say that, everything is what? On him or her, the police officer. They got to prove everything.
Yeah, there's no reason to argue with the police. That's all for the courts.
Thank you. You don't sit there and argue with the police. They got to do everything. 90% of their police reports are given. The report is written by the suspect. They just do a little filler, but 90% of police officers' police reports are given by the suspect because they don't know how to shut the hell up.
There's no reason to have an attitude.
I am sick of you guys harassing me.
I've never seen you here. Have I? Have you ever met me?
No, that doesn't mean anything. I'm here for work.
That's fantastic. But I still have to do my job.
Okay, and your job. Okay, your job is to come check and see if I'm here. Why I'm here. Yeah. I told you why I'm here.
That's great.
So now you can go about your way.
It would be fantastic if you would lose the attitude, ma'am.
I don't have an attitude. All I did was
a massive attitude.
Okay.
The first thing you said when I saw you was, "I don't want to deal with this right now."
Because I don't. I'm sick of having to deal with this.
Well, ma'am, I don't know who you are.
Okay. I apologize for saying that.
So if you want to get an attitude, we can have a problem. But I don't want that. Okay?
Okay, it's all on camera.
You can have that on camera all you want. Okay? But talking to someone disrespectfully when they're trying to be nice and do their job is not okay.
I'm trying to do the same thing.
That's fantastic. But you decided you wanted to be disrespectful. You record all you want. I don't care. So
You're not getting my ID. There's no reason to get my ID.
If I want to.
So now at this point, he knows that he pretty much knows that she worked there. Now, what is this whole stop about now?
Save face.
It's becoming
trying to save face.
Yeah, it's becoming personal now. I think the cop in his feelings.
Cop in his feelings.
Yeah, he's trying to save face, and she recording everything as well. Yeah,
and he's just like, look how he look. Look at his belly just over his pants like that. She just don't want to be bothered. She just like turned off completely. And he like,
yeah.
I don't even know
like
who
a
you
bad
are.
date.
Like, give me your license. Give me your ID, man. Come on, man.
Hey, Kevin, I had another question too. I kept hearing her say over and over that it's a private facility or private parking lot, right? So, what's the jurisdiction of cops when it comes to a corporate?
That's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other. We're about to get into that as we play it on. But yeah, since you had the question now, yeah, she's on private property. So, does the police officer have the right to come up on private property and ask you for your ID?
No.
Not without a warrant.
If the property management gave the police, maybe the precinct, like a written letter saying that if at certain times of the day they can go and check that, or if they got
Very
a call
good.
Property management.
Very good. See, most people forget that. So usually the answer is no. The police officer cannot go on private property and demand your ID unless what? The main reason.
They have written permission.
Or that's the secondary. That's actually the secondary reason. What's the main reason they can?
He got a call to come there.
He got a call to come there that you trespass. They got a trespass call or some type of call, some type of incident happened.
But with
that's the only time they have.
I was going to add, but with the call, the person has to have went up to that person and notified them that they're trespassing and asked them to leave first before they can call the police and make it lawful.
Well, the person has to deny after the owner or whoever who's authorized to give, to have authority over the property. Once they give the order, the person has to deny the order. Then that person has the right to call the police. But so again, the police officer, when rolling up on private property, just so we're clear, police officer does not have the right to ask you for your ID on private property unless there's reasonable suspicion, usually called by the person who owns the property, meaning a trespass or some type of personal incident happens, you assault or something like that, vandalism, anything like that. So, but unless there's a lawful reason that they made a call to the police officer to come and investigate a violation of the law, the police officer has no right to just roll up on you randomly, or because you're on private property and ask for your ID. Excuse me. Unless, now just like E said just right now, unless, because this happens sometime, police precincts have contracts with businesses to patrol the area, patrol their businesses on certain hours. And so if they do have a contract, then the business has given the police officer the authority over the property when they're not there. So then that can happen. And so you may not know that. See, this is one of those tricky things where you may not know that. But your rights are still your rights. So again, they don't have the right to do anything to you. They have the right to trespass you. So a police officer at that point, the most that they have the right to do, if they have a contract with the company, is trespass you. If you haven't violated any laws, you're not trying to break in or anything like that, they can just trespass you. That's it. But other than that, but right now, this police officer, like my man said, he in his feelings. This police officer right now he know that she worked there. You're supposed to comply and do what I say. So now, since you're not doing that, I'm about to make this shit hard for you.
Your ID because I'm checking who you are? Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
The officer doesn't seem to understand that here, he is the problem. Moody has every right to be disagreeable and to redress her grievances with this state employee. The officer's threat to create a problem because Moody was Moody appears to be an ego-driven abuse of power. Again, the officer has no reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime and has no authority whatsoever to check her ID.
You have to have reasonable, articulable suspicion.
Okay.
Of a crime. What is your suspicion of a crime? Yes.
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
You're on private property. I don't know who you are. Is that correct?
And I have told you who I...
You haven't told me who you are.
I don't need to give you my name.
Okay. But I don't know.
You're on private property, and I don't know who you are. So therefore, that gives me the authority to ask you for your ID. See, this is the double talk, man. Anybody who's watching, the police will double and triple and quadruple talk you into making you believe that they're of the topmost authority. They have all the authority to do everything in the world that they're telling you to do, which is why you have to know their rights, because they'll sound confident like when they're lying to you. No, you got to do this, and this. They'll sound confident as hell, but it's wrong. And what's that called? What is that called? That's illegal. That's a lawful violation of the law. What is it called?
Color of law.
Color of law. Color of law means fake law. When the police officers lie or make up the law and try to enact it as real law. That's an actual thing that you can sue the police officers under. Criminal charges. So they don't have the right to do that. They have the right to lie. They can lie. Police officers can legally lie, but they don't have the legal. They don't have the right to legally lie about the law and enforce it. That's where they cross the line. But if you don't know, then you can't challenge it. But she pretty much knows.
Actually working. Now do what?
I have the keys right here.
That's fantastic.
I'm wearing a janitorial shirt.
Anybody can wear a janitorial shirt. I can go buy one right now.
Okay.
Okay. Everything would have been fine if you hadn't got an attitude. Okay. Everything would have been honky dory.
Oh.
What is she in Ocean's 11? Anybody can go buy it. I went and bought a janitorial shirt, nigga, just to break into this building. I got some type of elaborate ass scheme, nigga.
She could have actually said to him, well, it would have started a problem, but she could have actually said, well, I could go and get a police shirt and badge.
Right. I could eat a bunch of sandwiches and donuts, nigga, and look like a police officer. Look like a police officer. What the hell? That made absolutely no sense what he said.
Hey. So next time, if you are working, fine. How about you pull into a spot?
Because this is a private freaking driveway.
Man, do you know how many people?
It's not a through street. There's literally a sign right there that says not a through street.
I understand that. I get calls all the time to come here because people have parked here in the middle of the night. It's 11:30 at night.
Okay, and I'm here to work. I've got the keys. I've literally showed you.
Fantastic.
Got the keys right here. I can go open the door to go in.
That's great.
To go do my job.
And I'm happy for you. Okay. What I'm asking is when we stop to do a public service to make sure that you're not just some random person here getting ready to try to break into.
So now he want to reprimand her. So now he knows that she worked there. Now it's about you need to be courteous when police officers roll up on you. So we don't need to watch the rest of that. The rest of the video is him reprimanding her, like, be nice. And she's like, I don't gotta be nice. So it's the back and forth is about them arguing about being nice, and she don't have to be nice because she's a regular citizen and he's a public official, a public servant. And so therefore he has the obligation to be cordial when he rolls up on citizens, but she doesn't. So that's the rest of that. But he's in his feelings right now. And so trying to go all over the place to try to get some type of control of the situation, which he doesn't
ask for a date.
You think that's what he wanted?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that's what he wanted right there. She hurt his feelings.
You think that's what he wanted? You're trying to, hey, that's his weird way of macking. Like, baby, what's your ID? What's your ID, baby? Like, come on, baby. I'm the police officer. I'm here to protect. I'm here to protect and serve. Just give me these digits.
He was good though with she dropped him on that reasonable suspicion. He was dumbfounded after that. So she knew.
Yep. She was like, damn, you know your rights? Damn. See, when you walk up and you start talking reasonable suspicion and all of that stuff, they hate to hear that.
You want to know the next two big ideas?
They hate to hear those words because the common person, average person on the street doesn't know the phrase reasonable suspicion. It's becoming more known because of these videos, police stop videos and shit like that. You know, probable cause. Most people know probable cause because you've seen it 1,000, 100 million times in a damn movie. But no one knows what it means. If I walked up and I asked the person, you know, the average person, what does the police need to search your car? Most people would probably say they need probable cause. You know, I would venture to say at least 6 or 7 out of 10 people would say probable cause because they even seen it in the TV show or movie or something. But ask all them people what it mean, I guarantee you not one of them would be able to tell you. Legally, what probable cause meant. And so when you start talking these words again to police officers, you know, they're going to test you a little bit, but they're much more cautious behind their steps when you start talking qualified immunity, probable cause, reasonable suspicion, or you shorten it up. Use the abbreviation. If you say you don't got RAS, they'd be like, oh, this motherfucker, RAS is for people who deal with this all the time. They don't call it reasonable articulable suspicion. They call it RAS. Hey, do you have RAS? Trust me, hit a police officer with RAS. They right off the bat, they're gonna know that you ain't the regular person. So again, get familiar with your rights. And these
sales are set to boom. Now is the perfect time to.
What is the deal? Why am I on your hot road like this, dude?
That's not fine. We can go to court. That's fine.
What's your name and badge number?
It's going to be on your ticket.
That's fine. What's your name and badge number?
It'll be on your ticket.
I'm asking you right now, man. I'm being calm with you. Right?
Yeah.
That's fine. Did I get your name and badge number? Sir?
Matt Anderson, 5396.
I'm a tax-paying citizen, and
okay.
I pay you guys a salary. You know that. You work for it. There's a guy right there behind me, behind your car, that just did the very same thing. Because he wasn't taking our bills and stuff, we want to give you the full attention. Isn't that right? I love it, man. You're good, man. You're good. I was just put in handcuffs because I flipped off that cop and he didn't like it.
Welcome back to the Lackluster channel. I often receive complaints that the outcomes of incidents I share are never covered. Most often, it's because A, the department investigates itself and finds no wrongdoing, B, lawsuits are extremely expensive, and C, litigation for these cases typically takes years to complete. Today's story was originally submitted by Pikes Peak Accountability and occurred in June of 2019. The original lawsuit for this case was filed in January 2020 and has just now been settled. The officer in the video, Matthew Anderson, lost his qualified immunity in his individual capacity. However, the city of Colorado Springs was also named in the suit and paid for the settlement anyway. Anderson has since left the department and currently works in Columbus, Indiana. Colorado Springs Police Department Chief Niski now seems to have a problem with officers leaving the force.
In 2020, the chief says 73 officers left the department. So far in 2021, there have been 18 retirements.
So that's retirements, resignations, maybe some people left in lieu of termination, just different reasons for leaving.
Some people left in lieu of termination.
The following is the original video, containing body cam footage and personal recordings from Pikes Peak Accountability. Be easy on me. This video is almost 2 years old. Hey everybody, today we are going to discuss Springs at the corner of Colorado and 30th. Pikes Peak auditor Michael Sexton was out just getting some juice at 7-Eleven when he saw a cop drive by and gave him the bird. The cop flipped a U-turn, came back, asked if he needed help, and was told to kick rocks. After the cop left, Pikes Peak auditor crossed the street and the cop flipped another illegal U-turn and immediately apprehended Mr. Sexton. He was given a jaywalking ticket And in just a moment, we'll go over the statutes to prove why it is not jaywalking and how this is just a retaliatory stop. Sprinkle in a little bit of excessive force, and CSPD has another lawsuit. That's right. Pikes Peak Auditor is taking this all the way to the U.S. District Court in Denver, where they just recently filed a 33-page lawsuit. If you want to read the whole lawsuit, the link will be down in the description below. You can check it all out for yourself. So let's get into the basic facts. Pikes Peak Auditor was here at the corner of Colorado and 30th. He noticed a Colorado Springs Police Department vehicle traveling westbound on Colorado Avenue and gave him the finger, at which point the police officer did an illegal U-turn and came back around.
Now, we've gone over this many, many times. If you are going to engage the police in that way, or in slang terms, if you want to smoke, then what? What's the rule?
You gotta know the law.
You gotta know the law.
You gotta have that legal firepower.
Yeah.
If you want to smoke with the popo, if you're gonna talk crazy, yeah, you have the right to do all that. Absolutely. Under freedom of speech, you got the right to flip the police off with a million middle fingers.
I can tell you, it sounded like he was setting up for a big payday, because it sounded like he did it intentionally.
No. Wait, no, we got to watch the video. No, we're gonna watch the cam. Okay. It's not intentional. Watch. we gonna see the video. It ain't. No, he was just on one. He was feeling good. Fuck you, cop. He
is in Colorado, so yeah.
He on some F you, cop. So watch me. So again, if you're gonna be on that, hey, look, I'm all for being gangster. But my first rule, because you're dealing with a fighter, if you going to smoke, you better have the hand skills to back it up. In the same way, if you want to smoke with the popo, you better have the legal skills to back it up. The legal hands to back it up.
Mr. Sexton, if he needed any help. Mr. Sexton told him, kick rocks. And so he did. The cop drove off, and at that time, Pikes Peak auditors crossed the street. Seeing Mr. Sexton cross the street in his rear view, the officer flipped another illegal U-turn, finally flipping on his lights, and within 8 seconds, physically detained Mr. Sexton, pinning him up against the hot hood of his police cruiser and forcibly cranking his wrists to the upper portions of his back. Statute 1018-104, crossing other than a crosswalk, garnished the city 25 different tickets in the year of 2018. The only problem for Officer Anderson is Mr. Sexton's actions does not constitute a jaywalking ticket. Statute 1018-104, crossing and yielding at other than crosswalks. Every pedestrian crossing a roadway at any point other than within a marked crosswalk or within an unmarked crosswalk at an intersection shall yield the right of way to all vehicles upon the roadway. Well, so far, Section A implies that it is legal to cross a street not at a crosswalk as long as you yield to all vehicles.
Now, do you see why it's so important to know the exact law? Because how many cops do you think has pulled this jaywalking shit on people? Thousands, I'm sure. Thousands of people have gotten jaywalking tickets for walking across the street, just doing the regular walking across the street. But the law states that you can do it as long as you yield the right of way when cars come. But how many people you think have just been arrested for walking, period? For doing that, period. This is why you need to know the law, because the letter of the law is everything. The details of the law is everything. The fact that you can walk across the street if you yield the right of way to vehicles means everything. That means it's not illegal for you to walk across the street as long as you just hold up when a car comes. But thousands of tickets have been written off of that.
On the roadway. But the real key to this is C, between adjacent intersections at which traffic control signals are in operation. Pedestrians shall not cross at any place except in a marked crosswalk. So, what is an intersection? In this case, an intersection is described at any point where two roads meet. The definition also includes alleys. So what does between adjacent intersections mean? That would be explained as one intersection immediately followed by the next intersection, both having marked crosswalks. However, on this diagram of the streets obtained by Pikes Peak auditors through the city of Colorado Springs, we can see here that there are no adjacent crosswalks. In fact, there are not one, not two, but three different intersections between marked crosswalks, hereby showing that Mr. Sexton was not jaywalking at all. But we wouldn't expect law enforcement officers to actually know the laws that they enforce. So no doubt this ticket is going to get thrown out. Should be an easy case. So now let's check out the video.
Oh. Funny. Colorado on 30th. Can you start me another?
Before even making contact, Anderson calls for backup.
Hello.
I just want to say this real quick though. With that guy flipping the police officer off right there, all gangster like, what does that kind of show? What does that kind of say for who he is? What does that show to? What does that play to?
He might be an informant.
Nope.
Belligerent.
White privilege.
Thank you. Somebody said.
I was about to get to that. Right? I was about to get to that. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Say it again, please.
White privilege.
White privilege. White privilege. The fact that he felt so free and then flipped the damn cop off. Do you see most niggas trying to flip cops off when they roll by? Some
hell to the no.
No hell to the no. You may find one or two niggas out of 1,000.
No, we just make a rap song about it.
Right. But you ain't gonna find too many niggas flipping the cop off right there on the street. That's usually not a thing for niggas. So again, this speaks to his Caucasian privilege that I can just do this. And he laughing as the cop rolled back up.
Why aren't you the landlord?
Where you set your bag down. You just jaywalk. There's an intersection. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, look, dude, calm the fuck down. That's not jaywalking, dude. Don't fucking grab me like that.
Turn around. Turn around. Put your hey, put your belly up. Don't move.
Now, does the cop have the right to handcuff you for jaywalking?
Not like that, no.
No.
When can a police officer handcuff you?
Or if you pose a threat, an imminent.
Say the first one. Say the first one again.
When you're under arrest, when they have probable cause that you actually committed a crime or a misdemeanor.
Right. Or
if they deem you as a threat, like maybe you're getting really aggressive with them and maybe flinging your hands around, things like that.
Or
you try to run from the police.
Right. If you're a flight risk. So police can handcuff you if they feel that you're a danger to them, the police officer. If you're a danger to yourself, if you're just out of control and you just maybe banging your head into shit or running into shit and you just can't stop, you tripping, they can handcuff you then. They can also handcuff you if you under arrest, when you're under arrest. These are the three things. Otherwise, what is handcuffing considered under the law?
It's an arrest.
So wait,
kidnapping.
No. That's funny.
Detainment.
No, somebody said it. Seizure. Handcuffing you is seizure. And what right or law protects you from that?
Fourth Amendment.
Excuse me?
The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution.
Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures, which a handcuffing of your person is considered a seizure under the law. So they have to have probable cause to seize you, not reasonable suspicion. See, reasonable suspicion is just to investigate. But in order to handcuff you, to subdue your person, your physical body, they need probable cause, or the three things we just said, which is, excuse me, which was what? Call them out one more time for me, y'all. Oh, now everybody want to shut the hell up.
I think you said a danger to yourself, a danger to the cops, or the third one, I forgot.
Flight risk. If they think you're gonna
Flight
run,
risk. Yeah.
So that's why. Right. So that's why when a cop tells you that you're detained, never try to walk away from the cop. Never try to walk away from the cop. Now you can resist if the cop has not alerted you to the reason of why they stopped you. What is that called?
That's passive aggressive. That's passive resistance.
Nope. No, if a police officer has stopped you and has not told you why they stopped you, what is that called?
Unlawful detainment. That's unlawful.
Unlawful detainment. And unlawful detainment. And so if a police officer tries to handcuff you without telling you the reason why they stop you, can you resist being handcuffed?
No, don't. Well, you could, but don't do it. Just verbally resist. Don't fight with the police.
Yeah, you got to step back. You can passive resist.
Passive resistance. What is passive resistance?
Your body's not resisting, but you're verbally resisting.
Stepping back a little bit.
Why it's unlawful arrest or detainment.
Well, so yes, verbally resisting, but also yes, you can step away. It's not fighting. Passive is meaning you're not fighting the police. But so if I'm retreating, see, so don't run, don't turn around and run and just run around from the police, but just kind of back away from the police until and keep asking them. They need to tell you why they've stopped you. Until they tell you why they stopped you, it's an unlawful detainment. And the law allows you to passively resist. It does. If the police officer does not have a lawful reason for stopping you. But again, we're niggas. So is that a good idea to do most of the time?
Negative.
Caucasians can passively resist. What can niggas do?
Assume the position.
No, don't assume the position. Don't just give up your rights. Don't allow them to handcuff you.
I would ask, and then after I ask, I would just keep quiet.
Well, what E said, passive resistance is, excuse me, is challenging the reason why they handcuff you, but lawfully doing it. Everybody can say, man, why you handcuffing me? What you doing? That's passive resistance too. Man, I ain't doing nothing. Well, that can be considered passive resistance too. But the actual way to passive resist is to alert the officer of their unlawful act of detaining you without a lawful reason. And then if they're doing that, and then they still persist, they continue to persist and detain you, then what? It's called what again?
Unlawful detainment.
And then you can do what? You can do what?
Sue him and take his bond.
You can sue the police officer for an unlawful detainment. So if they handcuff you for brothers, melanated people, you don't passively resist when the police, because they'll shoot you niggas. They just 9 times out of 10 for niggas passively resisting, that's you fighting back. That's you resisting arrest. That's what they're gonna say. And so they're gonna try to take you down violently. So don't do that. But
Kev, what's the statement? Something about I am complying under duress or something like that? I'm being forced to comply or something.
Well, yeah, I comply under duress. Like so basically you want to ask them, if they tell you to do something, then you can say, if I don't do it, are you threatening to arrest me? You say, are you threatening to arrest me or handcuff me or something like that? Because then that's threat of arrest. And then you want to definitely try to get that on camera, because then when you go to court, then that plays against them. They didn't have a lawful reason for doing it, and the court can see that they've threatened you. They threatened you to get, they basically coerced you to give up your rights. Boom, you got him on camera. So always say, if I don't do that, are you going to arrest me? Because then you say, all right, well, I comply out of duress, because then that leaves them open to be sued later. But if you comply and don't challenge it, then it's called tacit consent. You consented. You should have. You had the right to say something, but you didn't. So the law is going to be like, well, shit, you should have said something. Sorry. Can't come back now.
Point of the video, Officer Bergstresser received the call to step it up, leaving his partner unaccompanied at the traffic stop they were on.
Dude, don't move.
Just calm down.
Don't
man.
move.
That's not jaywalking, man.
Do not move, okay?
There's an alley right there.
Idiot, can they step up?
Defendant Anderson asks for backup units to step it up.
Look, man, hey, calm down. I'm not fighting you, dude. I'm not fighting you. Please don't rough me up, okay?
No, I'm not.
I have not done anything wrong. Why are you bending me over like this, man? Hey, don't tell me this.
Yeah.
I'm an American. I have the right to talk, man.
Yeah.
What is the deal? Why am I on your hot wood like this, dude?
Oh, it's not
I'm
hot.
not fucking fighting you. What is your problem?
Oh, you started blowing around and kind of tensing up on me. I don't like that. Okay?
No. I've not tensed up or done anything wrong, man. You're sitting here bending my arms and you're starting to hurt me.
No one's bending your arms. I have them right in the small of your back.
Officer Calderon arrives on scene, negating the claims from Defendant Anderson that Mr. Sexton's arms were being held in the small of his
I
back.
haven't done anything wrong. He's just too tense.
No.
It's a Friday night. You're way too tense.
In case you missed that, Defendant Anderson tells the arriving officers that he's just froggy,
He's just froggy.
giving a false pretense to the arriving officer that Mr. Sexton is fighting back.
Okay, I'm going to put you in handcuffs, okay? Well, yeah, with you tensing up. Yeah, I told you what you did wrong.
Okay.
Again, the police officer is always going to tell you that they have the right to handcuff you under detainment, especially if you melanated. It's just going to be one thing that, because they fear melanated people for the most part, so they feel more comfortable being around niggas when you are restrained. But again, when they go to restrain you, you have to, again, you want to get this on, you got to get this on camera. Everybody, you got to start filming every time the police roll up, pop that camera out, or have a body cam. But as soon as that happens, you have to say what on camera?
I'm recording you. You talking about tell a cop you're recording him?
No, why about putting you in handcuffs? Remember, putting you in handcuffs is against the Fourth Amendment. That's against your Fourth Amendment constitutional rights. So when they do that, there's only three things that allows them to put you in handcuffs. So when they commence to doing that, you have to do what?
Tell them they are violating your Fourth Amendment rights and you are being detained under duress.
Under duress or unlawfully detained.
Yeah, but no, even more to the point, tell them the three things that they can only handcuff you for. See, the more information that the officer knows or thinks that you have, the less that he's going to try to do against you. This is why they don't fuck with lawyers most of the time. When they pull lawyers over, most of the time, lawyer end up with a warning. A lawyer ends up with a warning because they don't want the smoke against a lawyer because they know this lawyer is going to bust their ass in court because he know everything that they don't and more, way more. So for you have to show the police officer that you up on your game too. We saw the video about in Hollywood when they were on Hollywood Boulevard and they were handcuffing some cats and these dudes just walked past, and remember the one brother, it was a white guy and a brother, both of them walked past and they grabbed the brother because he had like a drink. He said something to the police. He said, man, y'all better watch out or something, or watch the police or F the police or something like that. And they grabbed him because he said that, but not the Caucasian dude that he was with, his friend, and said that he had an open drink, but his friend also had an open drink, but didn't arrest him. And so when other people started to question why they were handcuffed, he said, oh yeah, we got a right to do that. He said, yeah, we can handcuff him when we're detaining him. He just literally just kind of floated that out there, just like that's a thing, that's a law. So they will tell you this bullshit that they got a right to do these things, but if you don't counteract it, if you don't challenge it, it stands. The biggest maxim of law is ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's the biggest thing that they'll tell you in court. When you try to say, oh, judge, I didn't know. People, how many people you think say that all the time? Every goddamn time they go, oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that, Judge, Your Honor. Well, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Here, pay the fine to the court clerk on your way out. That's what they'll say. So when they get ready to handcuff you, tell them the 3 things that they can only handcuff you for. Like, look, I'm not trying to run. I'm not violent. That's why you always stay calm. Whenever they don't be getting all hyped and emotional, because you immediately give them the reason to handcuff you when you start getting emotional and aggressive. So stay calm. Don't, you know what I'm saying? You can talk, you can assert your rights without being aggressive, super crazy and aggressive about it, loud about it. But don't give them the right to do that.
You gonna write me a jaywalking ticket now?
Yeah, pedestrians in the roadway.
Okay,
this year we've had a lot of auto pedestrian accidents, and
last
year
included. That I walked across the street when no one was coming through here.
But you see, there's the intersection right there, correct?
Okay. No, I don't.
So you do. I mean, there's obviously a clearly marked intersection right there.
Right, and there's also a street right there.
Yeah. So
and that means that this isn't jaywalking.
Here, no, and a street right there, so you can cross at either of those. But for you to cross right here.
Okay, go to court. That's fine. What's your name and badge number?
It's going to be on your ticket.
That's fine. What's your name and badge number?
It'll be on your ticket.
I'm asking you right now, man. I'm being calm with you. Right?
Yeah.
That's fine. Could I get your name and badge number, sir?
Matt Anderson, 5396. You going to write it down or what?
I've got it on camera over there.
Okay. And why were you making obscene gestures the whole time? That's weird too, right?
I have a First Amendment right.
Yeah. But okay. you also can't just jaywalk, buddy. So you're going to get a ticket, all right?
No, that's fine, because I'll fight it, and I know what's right and what's legal and what's not. That's a street right there, and I can cross right here lawfully.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No. You can go down to that.
Okay,
and
just write your
look
ticket,
how close you were.
Right, whatever your ticket you're going to write, man. Yeah. That's fine. We can go to court together. What's your name and badge number, sir?
Now, do you see how this dude did know the right? He had the right to cross right there. See, the dude, he did know he had the right to cross right there without it being jaywalking. And the police officer is just asserting, nah, dude, nah. All right, well, you know what? We're going to go to court and see. We're going to go to court and see what happens. Again, what is law for? What is the law for?
The citizens.
And but also for where?
After.
For after, in the court.
Oh, the court.
Yes. The law is for the court. You don't be arguing out here with the police officer. That's not going to really help you. Alerting them to the fact that you know your rights may get them to back down, but trying to argue back and forth without an actual point, without actual facts of law, is not going to do you any good. If you can't spout the exact laws that the police officer is violating, you shouldn't be arguing with the police officer. And even then, keep that very minimal, because they may be like, well, no, I don't know, it's not that. And you be like, oh, yeah, it's this. Now it's, my word against your word. Then, all right, after that, just be quiet. The judge will sort this out after that, because I know the law. And you sitting up here trying to tell me that it's not what I know it is. All right, well, let's go to court, and the judge will tell. The judge will say it. But don't argue with the police officer out here, because, again, you keep escalating the situation and give them a right to get aggressive. Keep that shit calm. Take it to the court.
No. You pay our salary?
Yes, I'm a tax-paying citizen, and I pay you guys a salary. You know that. You work for us. Okay? Get it right, man.
Yeah, and
I'm just exercising my rights as an American.
And you know, since you do pay our salary, I'm just exercising me about holding the law. With you breaking it by walking through here.
We can go to court,
So
man.
you didn't walk. You didn't walk right here.
We can go to court. Just write your ticket, man.
Yeah, but when I address you and say, "Hey," and then you start tensing up and start kind of reaching for the bag and stuff, that's when I get froggy.
I had the bag in my hands, dude. Your body camera, if it was on,
no, it is on. It is on.
I had it in my hand. What am I reaching for? It's already in my hand.
Well, when I tell you to stop,
I don't have all night.
Hey, buddy. Hey, if you keep talking to me, I'm gonna talk back to you.
Okay, I'll be quiet. So
there you go.
There you
yeah,
go.
Just be quiet.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do whatever because it's your and it's your First Amendment right because you're a U.S. citizen, right?
You got your hands on.
Sir, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get you a business card with all 4 of our names back.
I do appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
We'll drive you.
Young, are you all fresh out of the academy?
Nope.
I noticed you all had a CAI. They're hurting my hand. That's
DER
all.
what?
Okay. Oh,
IBM again.
5 8.
Okay.
You have a desk?
6. Thanks. There you go. He's got all 4. You're the man. You can clear out if you want, Bert. All right, sir. Here's your business card with all 4 officers that were here. I'll put it right here with your wallet, all right? All right. Have a nice night.
So they bought out 4 cars because this nigga jaywalked.
There's a guy right there behind me, behind your car that just did the very same thing. Because he wasn't flipping you off.
our bills and stuff, we want to give you the full attention.
Isn't that right? I love it, man. You're good, man. You're good.
All right, so they just showed the conclusion of what happened after this. So basically, this dude, as soon as he let this dude go, another dude just jaywalked, supposedly illegally jaywalked, did the exact same thing this dude, and he didn't arrest him. And now he's on camera saying, "Oh, we wanted to give you the legal treatment." So then, again, does the police officers do they have the right to enforce the law on some and not on others?
Yep.
Do they?
No. No.
It's under their discretion, but if it's so blatant,
They do. No, he's right. Keep going.
It's under their discretion, but if it's really blatant and you're going to stop somebody right there and you literally have it on camera, it's very contradictory and it could be biased and they could get sued for it.
There you go. Which is why he got fired. That cop, he's talking all this shit, and it ended up the dude, he knew his rights. He knew he was lawfully able to cross the street there. All he had to do was yield the right of way to cars if they were oncoming. That was the only stipulation in him crossing the street. So he knew that. Boom, took it there. This dude gets fired. But you're right. Police officers do have the right in a lot of cases to enforce the law on some and not on others. They do. It's called police discretion. So don't think that, oh, well, you got me for this and you didn't get him. Well, they can do that. It's fucked up. Absolutely. Absolutely fucked up. But they can do it.
Am I detained or free to go?
I'm asking you whose car is this?
I
need your ID or your name and date of birth.
Not answering any questions or cooperating.
You're not going to cooperate?
Nope.
I'll have GPS behind you.
Tell me why you pulled me over.
You don't want to identify yourself? That's fine.
You pull me over to check my name?
Sure, we're going to do an immigration and narcotics check in your vehicle.
We'll take your keys out, stop your car. Okay, fine.
Welcome back to the Lackluster channel. Today's story was submitted by a viewer that wishes to remain anonymous and will be referred to as Joe for this video. In September of 2012, Joe refused a search of his vehicle at a Border Patrol interior checkpoint, during which Officer Hoyt held Joe for over an hour. Joe filed a complaint on the officer, which was not sustained, and just over a year later, Officer Hoyt happened to recognize Joe at another checkpoint and followed him for about 5 miles before initiating a traffic stop. Joe had not committed any traffic infractions and decided to film the stop for his own protection.
All right.
Whose car is this?
Excuse me?
Whose car is this?
Am I detained or free to go?
I'm asking you, whose car is this?
I'm asking you if I'm detained or free to go.
And I'm asking you, whose car is this?
If I'm not detained, I'm going to leave.
No, you are.
Oh, I am detained? Okay. Then I can't answer any questions without an attorney.
Right off the bat, I love it. He already, right off the bat, he knows. Bam. Am I detained or free to go? Because you have to establish that. Again, why do you want to establish that right off the bat? Come on, people who've been in top law class for a minute. Why? Huh?
Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, why do you want to establish reason if you're being detained right off the bat?
Then you can ask if it was an unlawful detainment or not. If they don't have reasonable suspicion as to why they're detaining you and they're still holding you there, you can get some money. It's an unlawful detainment.
Right. Well, so you want to establish it because, like he said, it can be an unlawful detainment, but also they don't want to necessarily claim a detainment because they have to do the paperwork. So they'll go a long time and detain you and let you stay there, letting you believe that it's a lawful detainment without actually telling you it's a lawful detainment, because then that leaves them in the clear later on when you say, well, I was detained. And then they can say, well, I didn't tell you you were detained. Did I say you was detained? they can always do that, because then that lets them off the hook if you just assume you were being detained. Now, there are laws that says a reasonable person is detained if they believe that the police officer, that a person is detained if, if a reasonable person would believe that, by the circumstances, they are not free to go. Meaning if a police, by the threat of the police officers not blocking their way to walk, or, showing a force, a physical force of being like 5-10 police officers, like how they do when they show up, all these police officers, these cars roll up on you. You would never think that you were not detained if 4 or 5 cop cars roll up on your ass. You definitely gonna think, oh, I'm like, I better not move or I'm dead. So under those circumstances, they would allow you to not necessarily challenge the detainment and still, until later. They will allow you to get off or allow it to be an unlawful detainment without you challenging it at the point of incident.
Because then if you're talking to the police without establishing that, that's a consensual conversation.
It's consensual,
everything
right,
can be used against you.
Right. It would be considered, in most cases, it's considered consensual contact. So it's because the police officer is free to talk to you just on his own free will. It's not, he's a police officer, but he's also a free citizen. And so he or she can spark up conversations with anyone they want. And so again, that doesn't mean that you're detained, but the law states that would a reasonable person believe that under the circumstances that they're not free to go, basically because the cop is aggressive towards you and, is standing and blocking your way of movement, or excessive force shows up, an excessive show of force with all them damn cops that roll up on you. But you can pretty much get that all the time. When they roll up 4 and 5 cop cars on you, anybody would believe that they're not free to go under those circumstances, whether they told you that you are or not. So you can use that.
It's hard. I can't answer. Okay, but I can't answer any questions without an attorney. Matthew, it's hard. I can't answer any questions without an attorney present.
I get an idea.
Can't answer any questions or cooperate in any way without an attorney present. Why did you pull me over?
You need an ID. You need your ID or your name and date of birth.
Not answering any questions or cooperating.
You're not going to cooperate?
Nope.
You don't have GPS behind here.
Have whoever you want, do whatever you want.
I need name and date of birth.
I'm not giving you anything. You have no reason to pull me over. What's your name? G. Hoyt? I remember you from last time.
Do you have an ID on you?
You're just digging yourself a deeper hole. So you do whatever you want. Because you had no reason to pull me over. I don't have to give you anything. I already told you. You got your answer. Do whatever you need to do with it.
Now, if the police officer was acting lawfully by asking for his ID without telling him why he pulled him over, do you think he would be as calm and polite?
No. He would take it a notch further.
So by the fact that he hasn't told the police officer hasn't told him why he's pulled him over, and the guy is challenging it, and the police officer just constantly just keeps asking, "You're gonna show your ID? You're gonna show your ID?" What does that say?
He has no reasonable articulable suspicion of him committing a crime and/or infraction, and therefore he's just trying to get him in jurisdiction by getting the ID.
Right. He's trying to get the police officer has no reason to pull this guy over, and he's trying to get the driver to voluntarily submit himself to jurisdiction by giving over his ID, by consensually giving over his ID. Because at no point in time really did the man say, that you have to really give your ID. He just keeps asking him for his ID. He's not necessarily saying it, but he is holding him there. So again, he is under detainment because he's not answering his questions if he's free to go or not, but he is holding him there and he's calling for backup. So a reasonable person would believe that they're detained under these circumstances. So now at this point, it's an unlawful detainment because they have to tell you why they're detaining you.
He also said that he remembered him from last time. So do you think the cop may have remembered him as well? Yeah.
So because he filed so this guy filed a complaint on that officer who was saying you got your ID. He filed a complaint against this guy in the past. So and it didn't go anywhere. The complaint fell. It fell through. They didn't reprimand him or do anything. So now you can't talk when you sound like Megatron, man. You got to get your internet right before you try to speak. But hold on, let me finish. Hold on, let me finish talking. Yo, let me finish talking. Let me finish talking first. Yo, let me finish talking first. Boy, do I gotta mute you? Do I gotta mute you, boy? Who is trying to talk when I'm trying to talk?
He's probably stuck.
No,
okay. Damn. All right. So he knew the police officer. Basically, this is a retaliatory stop. What is a retaliatory stop?
Stop for basically vengeance for something else.
for vengeance.
Speaking vengeance.
He's stopping him because he tried to reprimand the police officer before.
Right, revenge. Basically, he said vengeance, but yeah, revenge.
He got away.
Yeah, it's get back. So it's when a police officer has a grudge against a person and they have no lawful reason to pull somebody over or detain them, but they do it anyway out of spite. So it's called a retaliatory stop. Those are against the law if you can prove it. Retaliatory stops are against the law if you can prove the officer's doing it. So again, him saying, I remember you from last time. See him doing that, and then that's why you don't see the officer responding like, "Yeah, I remember you." You see, the officer didn't act like he remembered him. He doesn't want to incriminate himself on camera. Like, "Oh yeah, I know you." Nah, the officer's like, "You gonna give me your ID?" He's sticking with the script. Yo, what's up on that ID, homie? ID. So, but he was right to say, "I know you," because that can play a part if this goes any further in the court.
Bro, KB.
To identify to the officer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wouldn't he also be within his right to start the clock?
For the unlawful detainment? Yeah, to charge. Yeah, for under lawsuit, you can charge for how long you were detained by the minute. You can say, well, I was detained, 20 minutes. I'm charging $5,000 a minute. It's your time. Nobody can tell you how much your time is worth.
And the officer refuses to provide a reason for the traffic stop, much less a reason for why Joe should surrender his right to privacy and hand over his papers. Officer Hoyt returns to inform Joe that other units would be responding and continues to refuse to provide a valid reason for the stop.
Sir, GPS is en route. It's going to be a little while, so you're going to be detained until I get here, unless you want to cooperate.
Why'd you pull me over?
Unless you want to cooperate.
You don't want to tell me why you pulled me over?
I'm asking you for your name.
Tell me why you pulled me over.
You don't want to identify yourself. That's fine.
You pull me over to check my name? Is that legal for you to do that?
You
pulled me over to ask me my name.
I'm asking you right now for your name.
Why did you pull me over?
You don't want to give me your name.
If you don't want to answer me why you pulled me over,
GPS will be out.
Whatever, dude. Fucking retard.
More officers arrive on scene and request ID, including Captain Sturgeon, who informs Joe that they are going to run a canine around his vehicle to check for illegal immigrants and narcotics.
You mind turning your vehicle off? No? You mind turning your vehicle off?
Now, do the police have the right to keep you there, to hold you there for a drug search, if they haven't even established why they pulled you over?
No.
No.
They haven't even articulated why they think that he even has drugs or illegal immigrants in the car.
Nothing. Zero. They giving him zero. So the fact that they hold him there, what is that a violation of? What law states that? Or what court case was that?
Rodriguez.
What? Nigga, I don't, who knows what that is?
Rodriguez v. U.S. Supreme Court case.
Rodriguez Valentine? Who? Man, you can't just be like, Rodriguez Jenkins. Nobody knows what that is. That's not a case. Rodriguez versus what? What is it? Rodriguez versus Mr. Loudman.
Rodriguez v. U.S. I was looking for the actual numbers.
Rodriguez versus United States. Mel, you got to get the whole case when you say
U.S. 348. Y'all want to look that up?
Well, yeah, if you want to look it up.
I was trying to, but my phone messed up.
Oh, so Rodriguez versus United States says that police do not have the right to hold you at a traffic stop for a drug inspection unit unless they have reasonable suspicion that you have drugs. They have to have an articulable, and meaning articulable. They need to be able to articulate why they think you have drugs in the car before they're obligated or authorized to call for a drug detection unit. They can't just keep you there. That's against the law. Everybody listen. They cannot be like, oh, you ain't gonna talk to me? Well, I think you got drugs in the car. Sit tight. No, that's against the law. You can sue the police for that. Rodriguez versus United States. So this dude is in the right. So right now, though, we'll see at the end, but you're gonna see what this dude should have done. at towards the end, but right now he's kind of doing everything right. He's not speaking. Right now he's doing good not to run. He's asking if he's detained. The police officer hasn't answered anything, but again, he hasn't given up anything other than just, his time by being detained. He hasn't given up anything lawfully.
Okay.
Are you looking for a new fence or gate for your home or property? Type.
Oh, we got another patrol vehicle.
What's the problem, sir? Why don't you want to tell us who you are? If you just give us your ID, we'll check it, and then you'll be on your way.
You know what? That kind of almost sounds like a cult. The way he kind of said that, it almost sounded like he was in a cult. Like, come on, man, why don't you want to join us? Just join us and everything will be all right.
Right. I peep game too.
That was creepy. Huh?
Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Right. This dude, that was creepy. Man, come on, man. Why don't you just want to tell us who you are?
They've been stalking and harassing him. Like join us, man. Come on.
Yeah, just give us your ID. Everything will be okay. See how he try to sweet talk him into giving over his rights.
Right. His head all the way in the man's car down there. That man in his passenger seat.
Looking inside the car. Don't ever keep your passenger window rolled up, because the cop will look inside. He'll peep inside, and anything a police officer can see in plain sight is lawful. It's not considered an illegal search if he can see it in plain sight, and they'll do this all the time. They'll stick their head in the car, look around, and it's not unlawful for them to do that if you leave your window open.
Hey, Kev, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Does the Border Patrol police get treated differently from the regular police, or are they all under the same umbrella?
Same number. They're state police. They're state police. So they got different stuff that they can do and different laws that they can enforce. But they can enforce the same laws as regular police officers. And those laws under reasonable suspicion and all that definitely apply to them too. So pulling this dude over still meant that they would have to have a reasonable suspicion that he did something.
All right, great, thank you.
Like, you just can't, like, I didn't do anything. You still need to have a reasonable suspicion that I did something wrong. You just can't pull me over to ask for my ID, just like he said. He's like, so you pulled me over to ask for my ID? So.
We're going to do an immigration and narcotics check on your vehicle. We'll take your keys out, stop your car. Okay, fine. Get your canine.
Do a canine slip around your vehicle.
Wow. You got a orange sturgeon. What's your name, sir?
Why do you want to know my name, sir?
You have to identify yourself.
You don't tell me your name.
What's your name? So you're refusing? Okay, he's refusing. You got the doggy. No, the dog's not going to alert on and they know it. Oh, he's got the big guns out. Wow, this dude's got a fucking rifle out.
Yo, just real quick, I want to say shout out to Tariq Wasulu Bay for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother.
Wow, they're serious. Wow. We put some stop sticks in front of my vehicle right here. And now he's got the dog out, gonna sniff the air around the vehicle, and he's got a rifle out, and he chambered a round. You heard it?
We all know that there's nothing whatsoever illegal in the vehicle. Now he's coming to do a canine sniff. And we all know how accurate these dogs are. The dog's not going to alert to anything, and they know it. But they'll say that he does in order to get me out. Yep. See, nothing. But they're going to say that he alerted in order to get me out of the vehicle. Been here, done that. Once again, no alert. No alert until he tells the dog to sit down. But there's no alert, and he knows it.
Also, why don't you want them to bring the dog, the drug dog, to your car?
I think just like
dog hang out, and maybe you smell a sandwich and you want to get in there and get the sandwich, which gives the police officer enough reasonable suspicion to a dramatic example,
but no, the dogs don't. They know they're. I mean, their noses are great enough to smell the difference between sandwich and drugs. They're taught that. They're trained for that. But what do they usually do most of the time when the handler is using them?
Well, this happened to me before, coming from Colorado, and the dog was complacent just like that, not doing anything. But then the cop lied and said he got a hit. And then after that, that gives them probable reasonable suspicion to go through your stuff.
No, that gives them probable cause.
That was my first thought, probable cause. Well, then I changed
probable cause to search.
Yeah. The dogs, yeah. So from my experience, that happened to me. They had me on the side of the highway on a cold February for at least 45 minutes. See, didn't find shit. Didn't find nothing.
So that's way too. Again, that's way too long. But what does the handler do? What happens most of the time? At least 50% of the time when they bring that dog out. What happens with the handler? Come on, we've seen videos of this.
Shit, they let the dog go.
No, they know, dude. The handler knows how to they've trained the dog to false alert with certain hand signals. They can make the dog alert by doing certain things on the car when there's no drugs in the car in order to develop the probable cause to search the car. So so again, when you allow them to bring that dog out, you have the great chance of them going to alert, even if you don't have any drugs in the car, because the handler knows how to make the dog alert. So that's why you need to know your rights right off the bat. If they don't have reasonable suspicion that you have drugs in the car, it's illegal for them to hold you there for a drug unit. Illegal, unlawful. Any one of those.
Absolutely nothing. The dog finds nothing, and about 3 minutes later, Captain Sturgeon returns. But notice that this time he has removed his name tag.
All right, sir. We're done with our inspection. Thank you.
Am I still detained or am I free to go?
You're free to go.
You want to say hi to anybody on YouTube or anything?
No, thanks.
All right.
Thanks, brother Roger Roach, for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. But now you see, again, they had nothing. Now, right after this, he let this go. What can this dude do right now? What does he have the right to do right now?
Sue their ass.
Lean on that
Take the
bond
bonds.
and then sue him.
Wait, say it again.
File a lien on his bond for an unlawful detainment.
Yes. They can place a lien on these police officers' bond for what they just did. This is unlawful detainment, which violates your Fourth Amendment rights, because the bond is tied to. So just so we're clear, everybody, on the bond, you can't file a bond on police officers for everything. It has to be a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. Why? because it's called oaths and bonds. A police officer, they take an oath to protect your constitutional rights, and it's bonded. That oath is bonded. So when they violate their oath to protect your constitutional rights, which most time is a Fourth Amendment constitutional violation, then that gives you the legal right to go and place a lien on the bond or a claim on the bond. Only when they violate a constitutional right. But so this dude, he has that, he can do that. He can go file a lien, but he can also place a law. He has so much cause for a lawsuit right now because again, the Supreme Court has ruled that you cannot bring out the drug unit unless you have reasonable suspicion that I have drugs in the car. And if you stop me and don't give me a reason of why you stopped me, you just can't stop me. There's no way that you can think I got drugs in the car without you pulling me over first and then seeing some type of evidence, circumstantial evidence that led you to believe that.
If it was, he would have articulated it.
Right. So this dude, he doesn't even know. This dude tripped. He had so much room for a lawsuit to get so much money. He had something, but he just like, all right, fuck it. He probably thinks because the first complaint failed that, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do another one. But this ain't a complaint. This is way above complaint. This is violation of your constitutional rights right here. He has so much power to sue these people.
Not your civil rights, your constitutional rights, right, Kev?
Yeah. Well, constitutional rights can also be deemed as, civil rights can be deemed as constitutional rights because if they're 14th Amendment. But we're talking, mute your phone. Yo, mute your phone. You got doors closing in the background. Who the hell is that? Turn your life down. Yo, turn your life down in the background. So, civil rights are considered constitutional rights too, but when you're talking about your main constitutional rights, you're talking about the first 10 amendments. What are the first 10 amendments called to the Constitution? What are they called?
The Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights. There you go. Bill of Rights. So the first 10 amendments are the real ones. Are the real amendments. But then, so the 14th Amendment could be, they use 14th Amendment under civil rights, but it's, your constitutional right. What we're talking about is your Fourth Amendment. But again, if violation of your due process, that's a Fourth Amendment. There's two due processes in the Constitution, but most people claim the 14th Amendment due process clause. So that also can be considered a violation of your constitutional rights and cause to place a lien on any public official who violates your due process, like a district attorney or a judge or somebody like that.
This is another good example of why you should always record your interactions with law enforcement. From what we can tell, this entire encounter was unlawful and an egregious violation of Joe's right to travel freely and his Fourth Amendment rights. Joe still has no clue as to why the stop occurred, but questions whether it was retaliation for filing a complaint against the officer the year prior. Make sure to check out my dash cam recommendations in the description. Even the cheap ones are well worth having for some poor.
All right. So we just saw that. So yeah, dude, he did everything right except after the after the stop. He had all the power in the world because he did do everything right during the stop. He had all the power in the world after the stop to take the dude down. I don't know why he did not. Hold on.
Perhaps the cops had good karma?
Dude, I'm sure of it. That cop had to have some good karma because There's no way. Like, seriously, dude, how in the hell did he get off from that? But you know what? Again, the guy probably thought because he lost the first time that he wouldn't win this time.
Were well within their authority to. Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers prior restraints, the seizure of evidence, and Miranda rights, and is brought to us by Witsit Gets It's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Policy Genius. Live August 4th, 2021, YouTuber, activist, and flat earth advocate Austin Whitsitt live streamed himself voicing his beliefs into a loudspeaker on the Grandview Terrace at Mount Rushmore in Pennington County, South Dakota. Before beginning his speech, Mr. Whitsitt informs his audience that he has already had altercations with park rangers in the area for the very same conduct. Approximately 22 minutes into his speech, 2 park rangers approach Mr. Whitsitt and order him to disband his speech.
Hello, sir. How are you?
What's up, man?
How you doing now?
I'm doing good.
So we're just coming back.
Yeah.
Want to give you every opportunity. We have the permit paperwork if you'd like to apply for a permit. We have your regulations showing you that this is not an approved area. Would you like to move?
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, so what's the decibel?
So, well, no, I'm citing you for engaging in activity.
Well, let me see the law.
You need to
Do you know how the law works?
So what I'm asking, I'm going to need your ID.
I don't have to give you my ID. Are you detaining me?
Yeah. Yes, no.
Okay, for what? What suspicion of what crime?
If you fail to identify yourself, you're going to be.
So if you were going to arrest this dude or you were going to cite this dude, what would you cite him under? What would he be guilty of?
Disturbing the peace.
Disturbing the peace. See, again, you have a First Amendment right to free speech, but only if it doesn't interfere with someone else's freedom, their constitutional rights. When your rights start to infringe upon someone else's rights, then you don't get those. You lose those. Right? That's why it's called liberty and not freedom. Liberty is what?
Freedom with constraints.
Right. Given freedom that can be taken away when you fuck up or don't comply with the stipulations of why the freedom was or the liberty was given to you in the first place. So again, this dude being on a loudspeaker and him, trying to get off his manifesto or his ideal and him bothering everybody else is just there to have a nice time in nature. Do you think anybody who woke up that day wanted to come out and enjoy nature with this dude running his mouth in their ear with a big ass loudspeaker? No.
Hey, Kevin, I had a question as well. He's on federal grounds. Mount Rushmore is considered federal grounds, right? So is there a different charge for that as well?
A different charge for what? For him violating?
So yes, for violation. Would that look different?
No, it's just no, not necessarily. It's just but there are different laws that they can get him on. There are other federal laws that he has to comply with because he's on federal ground. But the main laws still apply to even because even though it's federal ground, it's still within the state of where's Mount Rushmore, Dakota?
Yeah, South Dakota.
South Dakota. Yeah, so it's still within within South Dakota. So it's still state law along with federal law.
Okay.
So detain me, you have to
fail to identify yourself, you're going to be detained.
So to detain me, you have to actually ID me as a detained.
I just have to cite you.
No.
So I'm citing you with 36 CFR 1.6,
which says what?
For failing to engage or failing to get a permit for an activity.
So can I see this? Can I see the ordinance?
Yes.
The Rangers inform Mr. Whitsitt that he is violating Section 1.6 of Title 36 of the Code of Federal Regulations by demonstrating without a permit, an attempt to provide him with a copy of the permit application. This section of the code states that the official in charge of a national park, quote, may issue a permit to authorize an otherwise prohibited or restricted activity or impose a public use limit, and prohibits, quote, engaging in an activity subject to a permit requirement imposed pursuant to this section without obtaining a permit. Additionally, Section 2.51 of Title 36 of the Code of Federal Regulations governs when the national parks allow individuals to participate in, quote unquote, demonstrations, such as, quote, picketing, speech making, marching, holding vigils or religious services, and all other like forms of conduct that involve the communication or expression of views or grievances which is reasonably likely to attract a crowd or onlookers. The regulation allows groups of fewer than 26 individuals to demonstrate in certain locations that the park is designated as available for demonstrations without a permit, but groups of 26 or more are required to obtain a permit. Groups of 25 or fewer must also obtain a permit to demonstrate outside these designated areas in a national park. The Mount Rushmore National Memorial has designated 6 locations where individuals or groups are allowed to exercise their First Amendment rights through a demonstration. For example, the amphitheater just below the terrace where Mr. Whitsitt was speaking is a designated free speech zone where he could have demonstrated without a permit. However, the Grandview Terrace where Mr. Whitsitt was speaking is not a designated demonstration area. So, as the Rangers explained, he could not legally demonstrate there without a permit. This restriction on speech through a permit requirement, which is known as a prior restraint, would likely be constitutional in this context, as we have discussed many times.
So this is the misconception. So he thinks I'm on federal ground. This is his belief. I'm on federal ground. I pay taxes, so therefore what? What is the belief behind that?
He gets to speak wherever he wants.
Right. He thinks it's public property because it's federal property and he pays taxes. The federal government works for the people. So it's public. He's the people. It's public ground. It's public property and he can speak on it. However, this is why you need to know the law. That's surface law. Law doesn't stop at the first page you read it. So again, what does the law give the federal government the right to do with their property?
Arrest you without a warrant.
But first, before that, though, what does the law give the right for the federal? Again, because most people think government-owned property is public property. But what does the law state behind that? Government-owned property. They have the right to do what?
Maintain and regulate.
Regulate. Maintain and regulate the property how they see fit. Yeah, it's public property, but the government entity who controls it has the right to regulate it the way they see fit. So just because it's owned by the government don't mean you can go into the lobby and sit your ass in the middle of the floor and start doing a concert or start spouting off the Gettysburg Address. Shout out to Black Champ and Raising Sons TV. Appreciate y'all for the super chat. But so this is where he is right now. This is his surface understanding of the law, of that I'm on federal grounds, public property. I got the right to freedom of speech. Boom. Therefore, all those things are adding up. You don't got the right to tell me what to do. But he's wrong.
On ATA, the amount of protection that speech receives from the First Amendment varies depending on the location where an individual is speaking, with speech in traditional public forums receiving the most protection and speech in non-public forums receiving the least. In the 2010 case of Bordley versus U.S. Department of the Interior, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit rejected the argument that Mount Rushmore was a traditional public forum, stating that, quote, Mount Rushmore does not become a public forum merely by being called a national park, any more than it would be transformed into a non-public forum if it were labeled a museum. The dispositive question is not what the forum is called, but what purpose it serves, either by tradition or specific designation. Therefore, a reasonable content-neutral restriction, such as the permit requirement, would likely be justified by the National Park Service's interests in, quote, avoiding interference with the park's activities and the operation of park facilities, and preserving peace and tranquility in the parks. However, it is important to note that the Bordley Court also decided that a park's First Amendment zones were, quote, designated public forums, which means that any restrictions in those areas would be subject to a higher level of scrutiny. In fact, the court in this case actually concluded that a prior version of Section 2.51 of Title 36 of the Code of Federal Regulations that did not allow small groups to demonstrate in these areas without a permit was an unconstitutional prior restraint on free speech.
What's up?
Do you have an ID?
Am I being detained?
Yes.
Okay, so suspicion of what crime?
You are engaging in an activity that requires a permit.
Can I see the law of this?
Let's go over here.
Why are you trying to move me away from my camera to cite it? You're being really weird. No, you can just show it to me right now.
Here's a whole bunch of them.
Now, at this point, are the police officers on lawful? Do they have any lawful standing or no? To do it, whatever they want to do after this, or to do, I mean, not whatever they want to do, but lawfully.
Yeah.
Do they have any standing?
They do have standing.
Why?
Because being park rangers and it's a national park.
Mm-hmm.
They have told him that he is what ordinance or of federal law that he's violating.
Right.
So that gives them the reasonable suspicion, basically probable cause.
Well, he didn't have a permit.
Yeah. And they already asked him if he wanted to fill out for a permit, and he's already declined that. So that even further exacerbates the situation because they really got him doing the race now.
So basically, they gave him a way to alleviate the situation by allowing him to apply for a permit. But what I mean by that though, after they as far as the legal standing, there's certain procedures that they have to do before they're allowed to go into criminal procedure, right? So the first thing is they have to alert him to why they're there, why they're detaining him. They did that. He keeps asking the question, but he told him, they said, look, because you're in a public place without a permit. So they're right off the bat, bam, they got him. That's their reasonable, articulable suspicion right off the bat. So after this point, it's them not forcibly throwing him in handcuffs and all that. Now they're still just being nice after this point. They could snatch him up and take him
to ask him to leave. Ask him to leave before they actually lock him up. So they have to force him to leave, and if he doesn't, at that point they have the right.
Well, they did. They already asked him. They already kind of asked him to leave. But they don't have to ask you to leave though. No, they don't. If you're violating the law, it's under their discretion. They can ask you to leave under their discretion, but once you violate the law, that's a wrap. They can choose to enforce it or not by arresting you or not arresting you. But pretty much though, they've done everything right above board. They haven't done anything wrong to this point. Now they've been cool, they've been calm, he has a misconception of the law. They even work with that. They're like, look, dude, you don't really know what you think you know. So they're pretty much in the clear at this point.
Don't touch me.
So
to detain me, I have to articulate suspicion of crime.
Yeah, they offered you.
So can I see it? You haven't even cited it yet. You haven't cited the ordinance yet. What does it say specifically? Read it.
I'm not required to
do you
do
are.
that.
Yeah, you are.
Let him talk. So
read the ordinance.
Engaging in.
Are the police required to tell you the law? The exact law that they're arresting you under?
No, once they tell you
no.
Violate, they don't have to read it verbatim. No.
Why?
Because there's no law in the books that says that they have to read it verbatim.
Because you should know the law.
There you go. There you go. That's the one I was looking for. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You should know the law. Before you engage in an illegal activity, you should know if you're lawfully allowed to do it or not. That's on you. Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, he already said that beforehand. The dude said that he had run into the Rangers before. He's had problems with them about this before, so it would behoove him to make sure he knows what he's doing.
Wait, say that one more time.
The dude in the schmuck, when he started his rhetoric there, he said that we didn't hear it, but the guy told us that he had told the crowd that he had run-ins with the Rangers there before about this exact same thing. So it would behoove him to know exactly what he's talking about if he's going to do this.
Right, exactly. And so again, these dudes have been as calm and nice as you pretty much can expect anybody to be, you know, again. And so it's obvious he's disturbing the peace. They have the, and that doesn't mean anything if he was in the right. You know, the fact that they have the crowd's blessing behind it doesn't mean anything if he was actually in the right. But the fact that he actually is violating the law and the crowd and the crowd is evidence of it. You're disturbing the peace. They're trying to be out here. Some of these cats probably trying to be out here and you know, they're on some new age shit. They're trying to meditate and be at one with nature and shit. Like this person right here who's Indian style on the block of stone. She's trying to get her meditation on, and he over here on the loud ass goddamn on the loudspeaker. So again, you have freedom, but you don't have freedom. You have liberty, but you don't have the liberty to violate someone else's liberty or freedom.
Activity requiring a permit.
Okay, so specifically, which part of what we're doing requires the permit? Okay, so what's the decibel reading?
Banner, you can't have it at all.
So can I see the wall?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to explain this.
I want to see the wall.
So what I'm going to need is your ID. I'm going to need you to give me your name and date of birth, state of your island.
I need to see the wall. Are you not listening?
Friends would walk up to me and just be like, "What the is in your mug?" And I would just tell them.
So again, the fact that he keeps asking for the law and they don't have to show him. Now, a brother would have probably been snatched up by now. Let me say this. I know it's an assumption, but it's an assumption based on some good qualified facts that brothers don't have the leeway to argue with Popo like this for this long.
We should petition for a WP law, white privilege law, because this is ridiculous.
Okay, because they're giving him a much leeway. If a brother was in there disturbing these Caucasians that long, even for a second, if a brother was there disturbing that many Caucasians for a second, they would have snatched that nigga up so fast and took him. But again, we can only assume, but it would be a very high, a very reputable assumption that this brother is receiving white privilege at the moment, or a credible assumption.
What we're gonna do, I'm going to, if you fail to identify yourself, I'm going to arrest you for refusing to identify yourself.
Wow.
Number two, I'm going to confiscate all this as evidence.
After Mr. Whitsitt refuses to identify himself, the Rangers threaten to arrest him for failure to identify and to confiscate his video equipment. U.S. Park Rangers are federal law enforcement officers, which means they are generally authorized to enforce both federal laws and the laws of the state where the park is located. Additionally, Section 102701 of Title 54 of the United States Code permits rangers to conduct investigations of offenses against the United States committed in the national park system. While the rangers were certainly acting within their investigative authority by requesting that Mr. Whitsitt identify himself, they could not lawfully arrest him for refusing to do so, as neither the federal laws nor South Dakota's state laws criminalize failure to identify. However, a court would most likely conclude that the rangers had probable cause to arrest Mr. Whitsitt for demonstrating without a permit, and since the video equipment was used during the offense, seize it as evidence. In the 1959 case of Draper versus United States, the Supreme Court determined that if police officers have probable cause to arrest an individual without a warrant, they may also search and seize related evidence during the arrest, holding that the officer in the case, quote,
had probable cause and reasonable grounds to believe that petitioner was committing a violation of the laws of the United States at the time he arrested him. The arrest was therefore lawful, and a subsequent search and seizure, having been made incident to that lawful arrest, were likewise valid. Generally, if the police seize an individual's non-contraband personal property as evidence for a criminal case, the government can hold it until the conclusion of the case, although in some situations, some personal items may be recovered if they are not relevant to the prosecution. Therefore, a court would likely uphold at least the initial seizure of the video equipment incident to Mr. Whitsitt's arrest.
Yeah, that's called theft, big tough guy. So let me tell you what the law says. So whenever you have to come give a warning as to someone doing something illegal, and you have to cite the law and read what it says as it is prohibited.
See, now, again, he don't know shit. No, they don't. This is classic, I'm Caucasian and I know what the fuck I'm talking about. How dare you? This is, man, this is, you talk about some Caucasian privilege? Holy shit. This motherfucker is not only completely wrong, he got his hand on his hip with an attitude about it.
Could this be considered?
Huh?
Could this be considered color of law for him?
No, it's only if the police officers say the wrong law. Okay. For him, it's just being stupid. So
okay.
Now he's on. You have to tell me that no, they do not. And this is why a lot of times police officers get a little frustrated, because you get a lot of these cats who watch 2 or 3 YouTube videos and read a couple of sections of a piece of a law and think that they know the law, and then out here completely spouting the wrong shit. But then not only are you spouting the wrong shit, that's probably okay, but look how you got an attitude and you're forcibly asserting that bullshit. This is where they get a problem.
Engaging in activity requiring a permit.
So what part of it requires the permit?
Your audio device and your banner.
So can I read the law? Is that an unfounded request?
I'm not required to print out and show you.
You are required to cite the ordinance and say what it says. Okay, then I'll just research. I'll look it up. Say the ordinance again.
Keep your hands out of your pocket.
Say the ordinance again, buddy.
Do you have any weapons on you?
Say the ordinance again.
36 CFR 1.6.
36.
Do you have to keep your hands out of your pockets when a police officer tell you to?
Yeah.
When you're detained, do you have to keep your hands out of your pockets?
You don't, but it's probably best that you should.
There you go. That's the best answer.
If you're a Negro, of course.
Yeah, if you're a nigga, that's probably a yes. But but no, you don't have to keep your hands out of your pockets. What if it's freezing outside? What if it's fucking cold as shit and they got on big ass burly coats and super hats, and your ass is walking home and you got on those thin ass jacket and no gloves, and they stop you? You only expected to be outside for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, but now they have you hemmed up outside for about 15, 20, 30 minutes more than you wanted to be. And you want to put your hands in your pockets because you cold. And they say, don't put your hands in your pockets. Do you have to listen to that?
You're going to get frostbite.
No, do you have to listen to the police when they tell you not to put your hands in your pocket?
Nope. That's not a lawful order, so you do not have to listen.
No, they do not. Well, again, what is the police officer going to say about you putting your hands in your pockets?
Oh, you could pull a gun out. I don't know what you could do.
And then your response is supposed to be what?
Do you suspect me of having a weapon?
There you go. They can't just tell you to keep your hands out of your pockets for nothing. They have to suspect you of having a weapon first. Other than that, I can do what the fuck I want. Unless you would suspect me of having a weapon, you need to tell me where you think I have that weapon. Oh, you think you suspect me of having a weapon? All right, where is it? And show me, why do you think I have a weapon? What causes you to believe that I have a weapon in that part of my body, in that area? They just don't have the right to just do shit. They have to explain why they're doing it, people. Y'all don't know that though, because they've been out here so damn long, just able to do whatever the fuck, because you don't know that they have to have a reason for doing that shit. Anything a police officer does to violate the rights or subdue the rights of a citizen, they have to have a reason for that, because you have constitutional rights or rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution that they are bound, they are sworn to protect. So if they go and they subdue those rights, they have to have a goddamn good reason for why they're doing it, or else they in violation. These niggas ain't special. They don't get to violate the law, nigga, while you have to comply. That's some bullshit. You just don't know the shit. You just don't know that they have to do it. So hey, if you don't know that I got to do this, then shit, why the hell should I do it? I'm not gonna police myself.
Well, I'll say this: the police, if you don't tell the police what the law is, or you don't challenge that, what they're saying, they have unquestioned command. Yes, and they do kind of get ignorant of.
Say again?
They have ignorance of the law because they got qualified immunity. So you have to know what the law is in order to, so that they don't violate that. And if they do, then you can get restitution.
True. Absolutely. So yeah, exactly. You need to know what the law is so that when they do violate the law, you can challenge it and then get restitution later. But so again, every situation is going to be different. If you want to, if you know your rights and you want to be able to challenge the police, if they tell you to don't put your hands in your pockets, you have every right to put your hands in your pockets. Just so you're aware. However, is it a good idea? Take the temperature of the officer. Is this nigga got a fidgety trigger finger? This nigga hand look like he got multiple sclerosis in his hand next to his gun, like he getting ready to snatch it at any moment. If that's the case, don't keep your hands away from your pockets. Because no matter if you have the right to do that or not, this fool crazy, and ain't no coming back after some wrong acts. So.
For 1.6. Yeah. This is hilarious. I have to do your job for you.
No problem. Sir, put your hands behind your back.
For what?
I'm going to take your phone. Put your hands behind your back.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Wow.
Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest.
I'm under arrest.
You have to do this weekend, man.
This is public property, bro.
You had a chance.
I asked you just to show me the law, man.
You keep interrupting.
I asked to see the law, dude.
You're going to know what the law is when you get addressed to it.
Are you kidding me right now?
No.
Why can't I just? Do you know it's illegal to not tell me what the law says?
And we've been trying. You keep interrupting.
I've asked you 30 times.
I'm trying to.
Again, not illegal to not tell you what the law says. It's it's supposed to be. They're supposed to tell you why they're arresting you or why they're detaining you. The reason for them investigate or instituting a criminal investigation against you. But now we're about to come up here, and now we're about to read this. In most circuits in the United States, that's a thing. That's a law. But we're about to get more deeper into that.
Okay, will you tell me what the law says?
You need to stop. You need to stop.
Will you tell me what the law says?
You need to stop.
Mr. Whitsitt claims that the Rangers are legally required to verbally cite the law that they are issuing a citation for, and the Rangers disagree with his assertion. Contrary to popular belief, as the Supreme Court held in the 2004 case of Devin Peck versus Alford, quote, while it is assuredly good police practice to inform a person of the reason for his arrest at the time he is taken into custody, we have never held that to be constitutionally required. However, when an individual is arrested without a warrant, they must, quote, prompt constitutionally reason for his arrest at the time he is taken into custody. We have never held that to be constitutionally required. However, when an individual is arrested without a warrant, they must, quote, promptly be brought before a neutral magistrate for a judicial determination of probable cause, where they will learn what crime they are being charged with if they do not already know. Well,
okay. So does that mean the police officer doesn't have to tell you why they pull you over?
No, the police do have to tell you.
So again, he's mistaking two things. This is why you need to learn the law. This is why this audit dude ain't always the dude to be watching. This is why you need to learn the law yourself. So the Supreme Court said arrest. That has nothing to do about when you the instituting an investigation, a criminal investigation. When they come up to you and they stop your freedom of movement, they have to have a reason for stopping your freedom of movement. That's constitutional. Now, what they're saying, the Supreme Court is saying, is after they've acquired the reasonable suspicion to stop you, and then once they've had probable cause and they say, all right, you're under arrest, they don't necessarily have to tell you why you're under arrest. If they found something, they can just take you in and then later do it. However, they have an obligation to take you before the magistrate if they don't tell you why they're arresting you. You see how that's a thing in every state? Take me to see the magistrate. That's a Supreme Court rule thing. If they arrest you and they don't tell you why they're arresting you, they're supposed to take you. They're legally or lawfully obligated to take you before a judge, so that the judge can make the determination of probable cause for arrest. So make sure y'all understand that. They have to tell you why they stopped you. They do have to tell you why they stopped you. Abso-goddamn-lutely. Yes, they do. And if they wrote you a ticket, they damn sure got to tell you why they wrote you a ticket. The law needs to be on there. What law am I violating? What law? Why are you giving me this ticket? What you mean? I don't have to tell you why I'm giving you this ticket. I'm just writing you a ticket. Go down to the court and pay $50 tomorrow. Why am I doing this? I don't got to tell you why you got to do that. Just go pay $50 to the court tomorrow. What you mean, nigga? That's crazy. Again, that statement makes no sense. They don't have to tell you why they're citing you. Of course they do. But he, again, is mingling the two between a criminal investigation under reasonable suspicion and them arresting you under probable cause. Those are different. So learn the difference. Audit the audit, nigga.
Law enforcement officers are not required to inform suspects of the crime they're being arrested for or recite the law they're suspected of violating. The Supreme Court case of Miranda versus Arizona identified certain information that officers must provide when they arrest an individual. In the landmark 1966 decision, the court identified 3 rights, commonly known today as Miranda rights, that arresting officers must inform suspects of before subjecting them to custodial interrogation. First, the court held that the suspect, quote, must first be informed in clear and unequivocal terms that he has the right to remain silent. Additionally, the court found that, quote, the warning of the right to remain silent must be accompanied by the explanation that anything said can and will be used against the individual in court, and that, quote, an individual held for interrogation must be clearly informed that he has the right to consult with a lawyer and to have the lawyer with him during interrogation. An important aspect of the Miranda rights discussion that is often overlooked is that these warnings are only required before the police interrogate an arrested suspect. This means that if a suspect is interrogated in police custody without being given Miranda warnings, any incriminating statements they make during the interrogation cannot be admitted against them in court. However, there is no such remedy available if the arresting officer fails to...
So again, for people who don't understand what he just said, because dude is rather wordy, all he's saying is police officers do not have to read you your rights unless, when they arrest you, unless they question you. So when y'all see on TV where you got to read me my rights, when the police, that's TV. Stop watching TV and thinking that you're going to learn the law. They only have to read you your rights after they arrest you if they want to question you, which is why they will start asking you questions immediately before you're arrested. Because at that point, if you're not under arrest, they don't have to read you Miranda rights before they ask you questions. That's why they'll say, where are you coming from? Where are you going? Where do you live? This is still your, you still at this address? They're asking, you've been drinking tonight? 50 million questions they'll ask you before they tell you you're under arrest, because those things actually they can use against you without it being unlawful. Get the point. They say, oh, well, we need to read them. We need to read them rights after we arrest them, or it's against the law. Okay, they just told police officers, shit, start asking them questions before you arrest them. That's all they told the police officers. We'll handle that. Just ask them questions first. And it's lawful. So again, that's why you shut the hell up.
And is an individual who was arrested but not interrogated.
You just need to stop. Okay?
Wow.
Please just calm down. Okay? No, you refuse to identify. Please.
No, I did not. I asked you to tell me what the law says.
Look. You're engaging in a crime, engaging in activity, flying a permit, setting up the speaker and the banner on the.
You got tyrants, dude.
After the Rangers arrested Mr. Whitsitt, the live stream continued for approximately 2.5 more hours as the Rangers escorted the videographer off the park, seized the speaker and the sign as evidence, and wrote the videographer a citation after he provided his ID. When Mr. Whitsitt was eventually released, he and the videographer returned to the terrace and filmed Mr. Whitsitt as he once again expressed his beliefs, this time speaking directly to the camera. There were no further incidents with the Rangers during this time. Overall, the National Park Rangers get an A for actively working to de-escalate the situation, maintaining a calm and collected demeanor, and for remaining within the bounds of their authority throughout the interaction. The park rangers were well within their authority to confront Mr. Whitsitt and order him to vacate the premises. And although they appeared to misunderstand South Dakota's lack of identification statutes, the rangers had more than enough evidence to arrest Mr. Whitsitt nonetheless. The Rangers did their best to inform Mr. Whitsitt of which statute he was violating and offered him more than one opportunity to leave without issue. They even printed out the codes and relevant permit forms and presented them to Mr. Whitsitt multiple times. Eventually, the Rangers were forced to arrest Mr. Whitsitt because he refused to provide the information necessary to issue a citation for the permit violation. But they... All
right, so basically they had the right to do what they were doing, and homeboy was all in the wrong. Y'all got to know your rights, people. One more video that we had. So, any questions on any of this stuff that we went over before we jump into the last video? Is everybody in here? You guys got police stop flashcards? You got all your materials that super speed you're learning on this stuff?
Yes, sir.
I know you got them. Does everybody else, you got your stuff? You got your cards? And where?
I'm waiting on my shipment.
Okay. I ran out. There was so many people ordered them. I ran out.
Well,
and books, all the books too. But I got the books yesterday, and the cards should be here Monday.
Your group. I've been sitting in that van until you guys showed up and surrounded my friends. No. So like I said, give me a lawful order. See, they gave him a lawful order, and look, see what he's doing?
After he gave his name and information.
I don't need to give you my information.
Let's go down this road.
I'll just leave.
Let's leave.
See, I'm off the property. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Do not touch me. Why am I being detained?
Put your hands
Why?
on your back.
My hands are up.
Hands on your back.
Why? Why am I being detained?
Put your hands on your back. You're gonna get tased.
Why are you gonna tase me, bro?
Hello.
Don't tase me, bro. Who remembers where that's from? Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me.
That's a good thing.
Does anybody remember where
Isn't
that's
that
from?
an interaction we saw?
Huh?
That was an interaction we saw, right? That was an interaction that we saw, right?
No, y'all don't remember that famous shit? Don't tase me, bro. The dude, I think it was during the Obama administration, this Caucasian Republican went inside. I think he was in the Capitol building where one of the senators or somebody was giving a speech or something like that, and then he was spouting all this shit from the seats where in the stands. And so he was all loud. He went to the podium. So basically they were able to ask questions, and he went to the podium and he went to the mic and he was gonna ask some shit at the mic. I think he was getting at. Oh, that's what So that's what it was. It was John Kerry, and I think so. John Kerry was giving a speech at a university, and so he went up there and he asked John Kerry something about Skull and Bones, and he says, and so John Kerry tried to move away from him, so he tried to go away from him and ask somebody else a question, and so the dude kept on talking. And you're not gonna answer the questions and stuff like that. So they got security to go get the dude off the mic. And so he was like, yo, I have a right to ask him questions and blah, blah, blah. And so they were like, nah, you shut down right now. So they started snatching him and they started dragging him. It turned into some whole incident. They dragged him off the mic. You can see him dragging him through the hallway. And so they pulled out their tasers and then he was like, don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase. Like on the third, don't tase me. That nigga said, that was some of the funniest shit ever. Don't tase me, bro. But that's where that shit is from. That made me think of that shit.
Welcome back to Legal Dissent, where we evaluate your constitutional rights before they're taken away. If you're enjoying our content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing.
The reason that's funny is because you want to be gangster as hell before the shit go down. But then when the shit go down, you call a nigga bro. Like bro is supposed to stop the nigga at this point. Like I know I've been talking crazy. I've been talking shit up until this point, but we're bros. So don't tase me, man. Nah.
Help spread our message of accountability across the country. Today, we evaluate two videos that were live streamed by the auditor Savage Truth 603 and Breaking the Flaw this past Saturday, March 13th, 2021 in Manchester, New Hampshire. As always, the links to the original videos, channels, case law, statutes, and the contact information for the police department involved is located in the description below. Please visit their channels and let them know that Legal Dissent sent you. We have two videos in the sequence as both auditors are having separate conversations with different officers in the same scenario. So a bounce back and forth between cameras to get the full story. Savage Truth and Breaking the Flaw are filming in the parking lot of a hotel when a hotel employee comes out to briefly talk with them.
They might be trespassing.
We have a what? I have a friend staying here, yes.
I can't have guys wandering around the parking lot. I'm watching you guys walk the floor.
Yeah, no, we're just standing right here out of the way. We'll stand out of the way. Is that okay?
Well, hey, guys. Hey. Hey, ready? Hey, they didn't tell us to leave. They didn't tell us to leave.
This conversation becomes vitally important later on, as it is the only justification.
If they didn't tell you, if that person didn't tell them to leave, then what? It's not what? If they're on the property, then it's not what?
It's not a trespass.
It's not trespass. If the person doesn't tell me to leave, then it's not trespass.
The officers have to arrest them for criminal trespass.
They didn't tell us to leave.
This conversation becomes vitally important later on, as it is the only justification the officers have to arrest them for criminal trespass. This is ambiguous at best for the officers, who will later claim that they were asked to leave. I do not believe that she actually told them to get off the property, and while it might have been implied, I truly do not think that this would be sufficient to have them trespassed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Several minutes later, the auditors are about to leave when one of them is stopped by the police. We'll first follow Breaking the Flaw as he exits the vehicle and approaches the encounter.
All right, Jason, the torch is done. Guys, thank you all for watching. That's going to be about it.
You're engagement right now. You might want to be
Oh, the dude?
Yeah.
Oh, my buddy. Why is he being detained? They didn't ask us to leave. Hi. Good. Put our hands on. It's cold out. I'm putting my hand in my pocket.
Put your hands in your pocket.
My hands in my pocket.
My hands are in my pocket. Allow us.
See? It can't tell you to get your hands out your pocket. Absolute bullshit. But again, if you're melanated, if you challenge that, you better talk it, walk it like you're talking. Or however them niggas, them rapper niggas, the Migo nigga, whatever that song is, talk it like you're walking or whatever. You better know what to say about your hands going in your pockets.
Why? No one's asked us to leave. No, you don't. No crime has been committed, sir.
The police are now trespassing the first auditor, and they're informing him that he has to leave the premises. The hotel is a privately owned entity that is open to the general public for services. This means that a reasonable individual would believe that it is open to them and it is perfectly legal to film in areas that are open to the public events that do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Basically, if you can legally see it, you can legally film it. However, as a private entity, the hotel does have the right to exclude members of the public from entering their property. Criminal trespassing is defined in New Hampshire under Criminal Code Section 635, subsection 2, which states that a person is guilty of criminal trespass if, knowing that he is not licensed or privileged to do so, he enters or remains in any place. It's a misdemeanor if the person knowingly enters or remains in any secured premises or in any place in defiance of an order to leave or not to enter, which was personally communicated to him by the owner or other authorized person. Further, a secured premises is when signs are posted in a manner prescribed by law or in a manner reasonably likely to come to the attention of intruders, or which is fenced in or otherwise enclosed in a manner designed to exclude intruders. The hotel parking lot is not closed to the public via signs or fencing. The auditors were not told that they could not enter the premises, and they were not barred from entry that we know of. Therefore, the auditors were legally on the property and only needed to leave once they were informed by the officers. No crime has been committed at this point by the auditors. We'll switch over to catch Savage Truth 603's point of view as an officer engages him.
What's your backup, please? I can talk to him.
Why are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
You have some ID.
Sir, can you back up from him?
Probably not going to. For what?
I'm trying to talk to him.
What does that have to do? What does your conversation have to do with my? I'm sorry. I don't take orders. Or you're going to what?
You'll be arrested.
For what?
Listen.
What am I going to be arrested for?
He's trying to have a conversation.
What am I going to be arrested for?
And you're standing right behind him.
What am I going to be arrested for? I can't stand behind somebody?
No.
No? That's illegal?
Listen, man.
You better be very careful what you say, bro.
Why?
Because you're being recorded.
So are you.
So cool.
We're both doing the same exact thing.
So is it illegal for me to stand behind him? Is it illegal for me to stand behind him?
No.
Okay.
He's trying to do something.
Didn't you just tell me that you were going to arrest me for standing behind him?
Listen, you got your ID on you?
Yes or no? No, I don't.
Okay, what's your name?
I don't need to give you my name.
You do, because the
I'm not being
security. Yes, you are.
Nobody has said a word to me about leaving.
Yes, I'm talking to you right now. Am I not?
Do you want me to leave? Give me a lawful order to leave.
Yes, they want you to leave, and they want you and they want you trespass.
The officer is claiming that the auditor is legally obligated to give.
So, when they say they want you trespassed, what does that mean, lawfully? When they say they want you trespassed, what does that mean?
Banned from the property?
Excuse me?
They want them banned from the property? Like they can't come on the property anymore?
Yes. Banned from the property. Exactly. In some cases, it means arrested for coming back after being told to leave. But yeah, it means to be banned from the property.
Identification so that he can be trespassed from the property. However, this is not correct. New Hampshire states in their criminal code section 594 subsection 2 that a peace officer may stop any person whom the officer has reason to suspect is committing, has committed, or is about to commit a crime. An officer may request the person's name and address, but the officer shall not arrest the person based solely on the person's refusal to provide such information. Further, in the New Hampshire Law Enforcement Manual, police are instructed that during
So that would mean that New Hampshire is what? Is what kind of state?
Stop and identify.
Stop and ID.
Is what? It is or it isn't?
It is.
Is it?
No, they passed. Yeah, he passed the law. Yeah, he passed the law.
Did you read that law carefully?
No, he passed the law.
Let's read this law again. What does it say?
It is a non-stop and identify state. If you're only able to provide name and address. If they said physical form of identification, then it's a stop and identify state.
Also, yeah, that's true, but also let's read it again. A peace officer, because you have to be, again, when you're reading these statutes, you have to be right and correct and be able to read them properly with discernment. A peace officer may stop any person whom the officer has reason to suspect is committing, has committed, or is about to commit a crime. An officer may request, see words? An officer may request the person's name and address. But the officer shall not arrest the person. Shall what? Shall not arrest the person based solely on the person's refusal to provide such information. In a stop and identify state, if they have reasonable suspicion that you committed a crime and they stop you and ask you for your identification, even your name and address, and you refuse, they can take you to jail. They can arrest you for that in a stop and identify state. If in a non-stop and identify state, they can say, we can request your information, but there's no penalty for your refusal of it. That's a non-stop and identify state, where there's no penalty for you refusing your request. It's not a demand. It doesn't say a person shall give his name and address. It says every officer may request the person's name and address. When you say shall, see this word shall, what does shall mean legally? In legalese.
Will. Will, right?
Huh? Yes.
Will.
It's the same person. Yes, it's the same word as will. You don't have a choice when it says shall. It means you got to do it. It's a command. So the officer shall not arrest based solely on that.
But New Hampshire is a stop and ID state.
But it isn't really. It's termed a stop and identify state because of what this says right here, but it's not a stop and identify state. If this is in the law, if I don't go to jail for refusing to identify myself, then it's not a stop and identify state. A stop and identify state really is a state where if you refuse to give your ID, then you get arrested. There's a penalty for you refusing to give your ID, not the fact that there's a law that states that an officer may request your ID and doesn't say that you have to give it. A stop and identify state is where you have to give your ID upon when they ask for it. Like California, they say police officers can ask for our identification all the time, but in California, you don't have to give it. And if you don't give it, you don't have to go to jail either.
Further, in the New Hampshire.
What you say?
I just said legalese.
Yep.
Law enforcement manual, police are instructed that during a Terry stop, basically what was just described in the statute above, they are allowed to ask for identification. However, in situations other than motor vehicle stops, the person has no obligation to respond. The only statute in the entire New Hampshire Criminal Code that requires ID to be given to an officer is located in section 265, subsection 4, which only mandates this type of behavior when an individual is driving or in charge of a vehicle. According to New Hampshire law, there is absolutely no time other than when you are driving a vehicle that you have to identify to the police absent an arrest. Police can trespass you without your ID. It's as simple as the police asking the hotel staff later on, hey, is this the guy you told not to come back? Why, yes, officer, it was. You don't need an ID to make a trespass valid.
From their
you have not given me you have to give me a lawful order, and if I don't comply with your lawful order, then you can trespass me. Give me a lawful order.
Then we could arrest you.
Give me a lawful order, and I will gladly leave the property.
Listen.
Give me a lawful order. There's nothing to listen. Give me a lawful order.
In order for you,
I will gladly leave the property.
In order for you to be trespassed for future times, we have to know who's trespassing.
Wrong.
No.
I got trespassed here last night without giving my...
What just happened?
He just messed up.
Dum dum dum.
What just happened right there?
He just put himself in jurisdiction because he just said that he was trespassed there last night.
He's an idiot.
And self-incrimination.
He is an idiot. This is why you shut the hell up and don't talk to police. Because you would just start running your mouth and you will say some shit that you didn't mean to say. Thinking that you got the police on a roll, on a string. They just caught on your every word, and then boom, I was trespassed here last night. What? What the fuck are you doing back here then?
Like saying you robbed the bank and you come back here to rob it.
Hey, I just robbed this bank yesterday, nigga. They ain't say nothing. Like, so this dumbass just fucked up. He was like, and at this moment, he knew he fucked up.
Times we have to know who's trespassing.
Wrong.
No.
I got trespassed here last night without giving my ID.
All right. Unfortunately, I can't let this one slide. The auditor up to this point has been great and has been correct about the law. But here is an example of how failing to exercise your right to remain silent will absolutely get you in trouble for saying the wrong thing or saying too much. The auditor just stated to a police officer, quote, I just got trespassed here last night without giving my ID, end quote. This voluntary statement has just given the officer reason to believe that the auditor was trespassed here, which I would assume to mean the hotel. Although hopefully the auditor just misspoke and meant somewhere in the city of Manchester, New Hampshire. That means a competent officer would now have probable cause to arrest the auditor for failing to abide by the trespass that allegedly could have been issued to him the night prior.
Yes.
Fortunately, this officer did not pick up on it, and it went completely over his head.
Okay, then exactly. So no one knows you're trespassing, and it's not valid, right?
Wrong. Wrong. You can be trespassed without giving an ID. Unless you're going to detain me and arrest me and charge me the crime, you do not have the right to ask me for ID.
No, that's wrong.
It is not
because
wrong.
How can we say, all right, this guy's trespassing, we don't know who this guy is, right?
You can't trespass me from a property where you haven't even asked me to leave.
Let me leave.
Who?
When can you be lawfully banned trespass from a place, a private place?
The owner or someone in authority has to ask you to leave and you refuse. Once that happens, then they can call the cops to have you trespassed.
Right. At that point is when you're obligated to give over your ID so that the place can know who you are next time you come around, that you were legally trespassed on this place and now you just violated the law. However, if they tell you to leave and you go, there's no lifetime ban from the place. If they just tell you to leave one time and you actually leave, that doesn't mean you can't come back. That doesn't mean you can't come back. And if you do come back, because if they tell me to leave at this point, not leave, then I've done exactly as they say. There's nothing to say that I can't come back. Now, if they say that I don't ever want you on the property ever again, and then they have video of it and they have cameras or something like that, they still can't ask you for your identification to prove that you are who you are. So when you come back, that has to be a lawful thing. I mean, you have to legally violate the crime. You have to legally violate their order to leave. And once the police get there, then the police institutes the criminal investigation and gets all your information for the next time. But again, if you leave upon the first time of them telling you to leave, then there's no violation of the law.
Yeah.
My name is Sticker Pin.
Let me leave. You want me to leave? You're illegally identified.
Again, you can be trespassed without identification. All it takes is a witness from the hotel saying, yep, that's the guy we trespassed. And there you go. No name, no ID necessary. But now you also have the second officer guessing who the auditor is based off of the auditor's previous statement. And he quickly looked up who was trespassed from the property the night prior, which fortunately was not the auditor. But folks, remember, when you're talking to the police, you have to be careful about what you say. Please stop talking and exercise your right to remain silent. We'll now move back over to Breaking the Flaw's point of view, as he was also engaged by another officer.
Well, we haven't been asked to leave, though.
No?
We haven't been asked to leave.
You better. He just wants to give you guys a lawful trespass.
Okay, then let us leave then.
We need to ID you.
No, you do not. No, you do not, because they never asked us to leave. Now you guys are telling us now. So now we're going to leave. So let us leave. Let us leave. That's how it goes. Who's the supervisor here? Huh? Okay, let us leave then. You're not going to let us leave? No. You're not going to get my ID. I haven't committed a crime.
Yes, you are.
Right? No one's asked us to leave. I'm on video. Okay.
So at this point, what should the auditor be doing, or this dude should be doing? If he's arguing the law with the police officer that he upon being told to leave, that if he leaves, he's not trespassed, what should he be doing at this point?
Backing away and leaving.
Well, no, he just said, okay, no, he's asking. He's told the police officer, he said, all right, you told us to leave, so let us go. But the police officer is like, no, I'm not letting you go till you give us your ID. So now we're at a stalemate because the officer is saying that you are telling you to leave, you're being trespassed, so we need your ID so that lawfully, if you come back, we have you on record. But he's like, no, because they never asked us to leave. This is the first time we're hearing about it. And so we're leaving. And then the officer's like, no, you can't leave till you give us your ID. So now we're at a stalemate. So what should this guy be doing at this point?
One for a supervisor.
Or take me to see a magistrate.
Take me to see a magistrate. But before that, he already asked if there was a he said, where's the supervisor here? I think one of the dudes answered or something. Or
you should ask if he's being detained.
Well, he is being detained. I think they're being detained. They know. Yeah, they're all being detained. Like they basically created a circle around these dudes. But again, he's arguing the trespass law. So what should he be doing if he's arguing the trespass law with the officer?
Penal codes.
What would Big Nick do? What would Big Nick be doing right now?
Tell him the penal code, asking him, give him the penal codes.
Big Nick would be like, penal code 5975452 who says you can't trespass me unless blah, blah, blah. So if he's gonna be doing this, he knows this is what he's chosen as his career now, or whatever he's doing, at least as a hobby. Then if you're going to be dealing with this, then you should know the trespass law of your state and should be able to recall it and tell it to the police officer just like that. No, such and such law, penal code, bam, 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 states that trespass needs to be bam, 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 bam. Read it right off. So now when you read that law on camera and the police officer is now still challenging and refusing to abide by the law, now he's in violation. After that, because we take this video to court and a judge sees that I know the law better than the police officer, he's fucked. Like, the citizen got the law right. Why didn't you know this law more than the citizen? So again, know the laws that you're sitting up here trying to enforce and assert.
Never asked us to leave. So you guys can make up whatever you want right now, but it's not going to be true. So go ahead and do what you got to do, but let us leave. Let us leave. If that's what he wants to do, we'll leave. But no one's asked us yet.
We're going to leave, and we need to identify.
No, you can't. You're not going to.
Breaking the Flaw is doing a wonderful job here so far. There is no need for him to ID, and he just wants to leave, just like the property owner just wants him to leave. The only ones that aren't wanting them to leave is the police, who have now blocked their ability to exit.
I did because I haven't broken a crime. I haven't broken a crime. She didn't ask us to leave. You guys are telling us right now that we're being trespassed, but I don't have to prove ID. You're asking us to leave. We'll leave. Let us leave. We need to get out of here because you're asking us to leave, right? We're gonna leave to record you guys. Yeah. So,
if you guys want to come down here on your own,
yeah,
cause a problem.
We're not causing a problem.
And now we're legally asking for your ID.
No, you should ask us to leave first because we're not refusing to leave. We want to leave. You're not letting us.
Let me leave. Let me leave.
I think you guys are just retaliating right now for us trying to film you guys.
Let me leave.
Then let us leave. Let us leave. Let us leave. You're asking us to leave. Let us leave.
No, I won't.
We want to leave. If you're asking us to leave, we'll leave. But we haven't committed a crime. They didn't ask us to leave yet. Okay? You guys are telling us that we are trespassing. Well, let's leave. Let us leave. No, we have not. That isn't. No, we have not. They never asked us to leave. It's on video.
This officer is so painfully wrong. They have not committed a crime. Criminal trespassing, as we discussed before, requires them knowing that they do not have the license or privilege to be on the premises. The best that the police can hang their hat on now is a hotel staff member coming out and saying, hey, I don't know if I really want you hanging around the parking lot, and then going back in without specifically stating that they need to leave. They are legally allowed to be there until they're told that they can't, which didn't happen until the police told them to leave. The situation now escalates very quickly as Savage Truth 603 attempts to leave by walking off the parking lot.
Identify me. You're not allowing me to leave the property.
Lawful order.
No, I won't.
Like I said, bro, give me a lawful order and I will go peacefully. It's on camera.
In order for someone to be trespassed?
I don't need to be trespassed. Just tell me.
The
Just give
security
me.
here wants
Just
you
give me.
trespassed.
They don't because I haven't said anything to the security here. They don't even know who I am.
Yeah, they just talked to me.
Did they?
Exactly.
Did they identify me personally?
Yes, they said.
They said who?
They
said who?
Your group.
I've been sitting in that van until you guys showed up and surrounded my friends.
Oh.
So like I said, give me a lawful order. See, they gave him a lawful order, and look, see what he's doing?
After he gave his name and information.
I don't need to give you my information.
Let's go down this road.
I'll just leave. See, I'm off the property. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Do not touch me. Why am I being detained?
Savage Truth 603 is tased 3 times, tackled, and aggressively handcuffed. Here's the angle from Breaking the Flaw's point of view.
So now you guys are telling us that we're being trespassed. Let us leave. Let us leave. Whoa! Oh, don't touch him. He didn't want to be touched. What in the world?
Why? My hands are up. Why? Why am I being detained? Why are you not told, bro?
Why? Why? You guys are being thugs. He's tasing him. Stop tasing him. Stop tasing him. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? No, you guys are, no, whatever. Stop giving directives. You guys are trash. No. Enough. 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 Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Hey, no, I haven't committed a crime. I haven't committed a crime.
So, before he just bounced and walked off on the police, what should he have done? Before being on.
Was he free to go?
Well, no, they weren't free to go. That's obvious. No, but
detained or am I free to go? That's what he should have kept asking.
Right, but you obviously want to get him on record saying you're detained. Yes, so do ask if you're detained or free to go. But after you're detained, they tell you they're detained. They really don't have to tell you that again. But you know, if you keep asking, the longer they detain you, without having a lawful reason, the more they get reprimanded. So asking if you're free to go or if you're detained, you do want to do that. But before that, though, the main part, what should he have done? Supervisor first, but really, before all it gets all that, you see they're not gonna let you leave. Supervisor there, you got to do what? What is the law made for?
After the court. So take
me to the magistrate.
Court. Take me to see the goddamn judge. That is a law in every state. You take me to see the magistrate. So the judge is gonna figure this out. That is a law. I demand to go see the magistrate. Since y'all sitting here tripping and y'all don't know your job, take me to see somebody who higher than you. Yeah, go ahead. What you about to say?
Hey, Kev, I was going to say the police psychological game is the best because they just kept letting my man get hyped, and then he was like a threat to himself and a threat to the police.
Right. They just let him hype this up again. They basically just stood their ground and no, we're not going to let you go till you give us your ID. This is why it's important for you to remain the calmest. Don't give them the upper ground, you know, the high moral ground of them being the calmer of the you know, in the party.
Gotta stand on your square.
Man, you have got to be relaxed and chill. Know that the law that you're talking about is right. And don't get emotional about it. There are rules to reprimand these niggas in place. You just need to do what you need to do. Don't get mad because your situation is messed up for the time being. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe you can get a lawsuit out of it. Maybe that's why the universe put you in this situation. Did you ever think about that? like the lady who got hemmed up at the goddamn hospital. Last we did a police and the police stop law class last week. The lady who wouldn't give the police the right to get his blood at the car accident of the guy who was brought in from the car accident. The nurse wouldn't give the police the right to give his blood, and that police officer arrested that lady and basically put her in the cop car, held her for about an hour or so, however long it was. How much money did she get?
Both of them.
20 minutes.
She get
500,000 for meals.
The city and the hospital, so she got good money.
Sued the city and the hospital. Was in the car for what? You said 20 minutes? It was only 20 minutes. My bad.
20 minutes.
Only 20 minutes, and got $500,000. So again,
and
remain calm. Huh?
And the detective got fired.
Yeah, and the detective one got fired, the other got a demotion.
Right.
One got fired, one police officer got fired, the other police officer got demoted from lieutenant all the way down to beat cop. He lost his money.
Level 3.
Yep, he down to beat cop. He basically a rookie. he went from lieutenant to rookie. So again, the law is there's laws in place to reprimand these niggas later. Don't let them get you off your game to where you give them a reason and it looks like they had the high moral ground to physically subdue you. We had to contain him. You see, he was out of control. Your Honor, you see, he was out of control. We had to stop him. You saw it. You saw it.
Right.
So, you saw it, right?
Yo, that's exactly how they do it.
Everyone saw it. Everyone saw it. Hey, I saw it. I don't know. Hey, it's just me. I saw it. So nigga, don't give these niggas the right to do this shit. Stay calm as hell. And then in most cases, that actually puts them in a discomfort zone. They're taught to deal with people under aggression. That's what their training is. They're really supposed to de-escalate too, but they don't really learn many tactics in de-escalation. They learn how to de-escalate through physical interaction. because most of the time they're de-escalating the situation is because someone is aggressively heightened in the situation. So we got to physically bring them down. So when you're calm and you're diplomatic and you're academic in your argument, a lot of times they don't know how to deal with that. They can't deal with that.
Exactly.
So,
they go through training for escalation more than they do for just regular conversation.
Right. And sometimes, like, you can even get them when you talk to them and then get at them morally. Like, man, does this really make you feel good doing this? Like, get at him, hit his soul. Like, bro, what's wrong with you? Is there something wrong?
Right.
Do you have is something wrong at home, bro?
You gotta speak to his heart. You gotta feel the energy.
Why are you so angry, man? Why are you this angry? Why are you this upset? Aren't you supposed to be a police officer and helping? You can get at him like that, but stay calm. That motherfucker looks stupid as hell. There's one brother who got a police officer like that. He was like, man, you about to pull your gun on me? And I got kids and family at home, and you don't. And man, there's that thing. That video has like many. Yeah, go ahead.
What's funny is though, if you was to come at them like that, they would change their energy and probably, like, oh man, my wife, she's not treating me right. I just can't. They might change their whole different mood. They might express what's really on their mind instead of, they
might let go.
They might just start venting, and just by you changing your energy, they'll you'll know how to cancel them out. I see what you're saying though.
I'll tell you right now, I've got every police situation interaction that I've had, I have gotten out of because of how I've interacted with the police officer, because they thought I was a cool dude. Seriously, it was like, man, you a cool dude. Seriously, pretty much every single one. Even after after the initial shit was a little rocky, after the end result was, damn nigga, you a cool dude. because I don't allow myself to get crazy in those situations. And so if you do that, you maintain the control of the situation.
Right.
Here we go. Last bit.
Hey, I will give you. I don't have it on me. So what are you gonna do? I have it. Can I put it down? Yeah. Don't. Why are you arresting me, sir? Why are you arresting me? Why are you arresting me, sir? Why are you arresting me? Tell me now. Tell me. I haven't. Dude, you're just throwing them. You're throwing. Oh, Jesus Christ. What does that have to do with it? Hey, easy, guys.
This is disgusting. This is infuriating. And this type of policing needs to end now. A situation that could have been resolved with a simple, hey, move along, please, has now been turned into a tase fest with multiple arrests. Ultimately, both Savage Truth 603 and Breaking the Flaw were both arrested. Breaking the Flaw stated in a live stream later that night that he was charged with criminal trespass, which absolutely makes zero sense. The other auditor, who did identify, was free to go, even though he was on the property just as long as Breaking the Flaw was. The only difference in this set of facts is that he identified and Breaking the Flaw did not. Look at section 594, subsection 2 again of New Hampshire Criminal Code. They clearly are arresting him for not identifying, and that is not a just or legal cause to be arrested. We applaud Breaking the Flaw's behavior, and we encourage him to seek legal action for the...
So, again, man, when you're out there asserting these laws, know what you're doing, know the laws, and the better you know the law, the better the outcome of the situation, or the potential outcome of the situation. Because most of these officers don't even know the law themselves. As you can see, these dudes were trying to enforce a law that they don't even know. So again, these dudes are ripe for a lawsuit. These police officers leave the city open for lawsuits all the time. And, contrary to popular belief, people win all the time. They all have, but what you'll see in the public is, oh, they got qualified immunity. But what you don't see is when the citizens win, when they get paid off, is because, and you don't hear about it, it's because that's a stipulation in the payment. the city or officer admits no wrongdoing. So you just get money, and then basically the score stays even. Whereas we don't admit no wrongdoing, so we look like we still all nice and shiny and good, and there's you can never win against us. So don't even try. But all the while, people on the back end is getting paid to fuck off, and you don't even know. But go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I was going to say that what was that case again? What was that? Taylor versus Rojas. Taylor versus Rojas. Qualified immunity. Is that the name of that case?
The Supreme. Yeah, Taylor versus Rojas.
Okay. All right.
Taylor versus Rojas is spelled.
R-I-O-R-O-I-S.
Oh, okay.
I mean, what is it? What is it, Mel? R-I-O? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I-O.
Riojas. R-I-O-J-A-S.
Yeah, Riojas. Yeah, okay. Riojas.
All right.
So yeah, look that up. And so that case was recent. In that case, Supreme Court said that you can sue police officers for criminal violation of your civil rights. That's under Title 18, Section 241 and 242. You can criminally sue police officers for a violation of your, or charge police officers with a criminal violation of your constitutional rights, civil rights. So you need to know that police officers lost their qualified immunity. Most people just didn't hear about it. They swept that shit under the rug. See that? They just yep, police lost qualified immunity. Nobody tell anybody. So, all right, y'all. That is for the people on YouTube.
Turkey.
Thanks for joining in this little sneak peek. Stop the lot. Hold on, y'all. Yo. I'm talking to the people on YouTube right now, yo. People on YouTube, this is a little sneak peek into the live police stop law class. If y'all want to get in and be in here and learn your rights, get a hold of your rights, your constitutional rights, so that you can take power within this system, just go over to Real Nagas or patreon.com/Real Nagas and sign up for the police stop law class status. Or if you want to do the status class, you can sign up for the status classes over there. But this is how we get down. We got to raise everybody's consciousness in the law. Again, y'all know I'm out for 1 million Johnny Cochrans. All right, so that's how we getting down. And we about to get on out of here. All right, I'll let y'all in a minute. Peace.
Turkey burger.
All right, peace, brother.
All right, y'all. I'm out of y'all.